Coming to you live from deep within an icy, radioactive wasteland, we are the survivors of the social justice zombie apocalypse. The few, the brave, the bitchy. Once more wading into battle against the zombie hordes with Rantzerker number 33. Men hate the women's! Alright.
They do, Alison. They really hate us.
Yes, they hate us so much.
It's true.
It's
Yes.
absolutely true. Absolutely. 100%. I don't even know why this is even a question.
Well,
it should just be like men hate women, and there you go. Like, why would you even need to say it?
yeah, it's just a given. Just
It's
like
not even a question, it's a statement. It's a nationally televised statement at this point in time.
It's not even a nationally televised statement. It's just the reality that we live with every day as women and men. You hateful monster, Teal dear. You hateful fucking monster.
I am only here to oppress and abuse you.
That's right.
Teal deer's a deer.
Yeah, but he's a male one. He has a penis.
That's true.
He has all of the equipment someone needs to hate the women's.
I have a social media account, therefore I am hating women on a daily basis.
Yeah, the answers aren't helping either, Teal dear. So.
Do you actually use it very often?
No, it's entirely automated and YouTube updates it all for me, but I'm still oppressing women with that somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course.
Oh yeah. No, it's mine is too. Like I think I maybe make 5 actual tweets in a month, and the rest is just a video that I like, a video that I upload, whatever, right? Alison goes into my fucking Twitter account and posts stuff like, I'm Karen Strawn and my farts are smelly.
You asked me to rough up your Twitter account a bit.
I actually thought that was funny, but that's because I have a sense of humor and the musical taste of a 14-year-old boy, so there you go.
Yeah, like a Frank Zappa's Ode to the Fart?
No, more like the Offspring's, Pretty Fly for a White Guy, kind of, or,
Okay.
theme or whatever. So yeah, okay, but we're gonna get started here.
Yeah, actually, I have something to say because I saw some people talking in chat, and I thought I would respond to what they had to say whilst you get everything in order. How's that?
Well, I have the video called up. I just need control.
Okay, well, I'll give you control, but I did want to address this.
Okay.
All right, let's do this thing. Okay, so I noticed some messages in chat worried that I may be going insane. Trust me, I'm not. While I appreciate the concern, I think it's misplaced. What you guys don't get to see is the discipline that buttresses the Rantzerker and ragening for me. I am a professional rager. What that means is that I rage only in controlled circumstances. Outside of those controlled circumstances, I don't watch irrational malarkey. I only watch it when I'm responding to it in the company of friends, like we're about to do right now, or if I have a specific goal to achieve by watching it as in the ragening. Never watch this stuff passively. That's what will kill you. Always watch it with some form of company, or watch it with purpose. Just because I'm passionate doesn't mean I'm irrational. You can't live without fire, but that doesn't mean you have to be a slave to it. Don't let irrationality drive you to madness. Let your reason lead you to passion. And with that, let's get stuck into this fucking turd ball.
All right, I need the control. All right, good, excellent.
All right.
Here we go.
Turd ball, ahoy. Remember, every 20 seconds.
Yes.
Well, 45 years ago in that feminist primer, still worth reading, The Female Eunuch, Germaine Greer argued that women did not realize how much men hate them.
Yes, this is a moment to stop.
Hmm.
They're not going to replace that with Germaine Greer's newest primer, The Beautiful Boy, The Beauty of Underage Cock.
Yeah, I still recall that really, really creepy picture that I posted in that one ad where, she's lying fully dressed with a naked young, very, very young twink-like man on a bed, and she's he's strategically covered with rose petals, and she's holding a handful of rose petals above him, kind of hovering over him like some kind of evil succubus, right? And I'm just, like, I get it. I'm with a younger man. I get it. Young men are attractive, and I don't have any problem with anybody finding young men sexually attractive, even men who are in the process of adolescence, right? Not fully mature yet, but definitely going through the process of adolescence, right? Totally get it. Don't have a problem with it, but at the same time, this is a woman who said that the act of men kissing their daughters goodnight was essentially sexualizing their daughters and teaching their daughters to sexualize themselves.
Totally rational. I see nothing wrong with that statement at all.
Okay, so when you're saying it was a young man, how young are we talking here?
Oh, he would have had to have been of age because it was a professionally done photograph that was done fairly recently for Vanity Fair or some shit, right? It was sort of one of those styles of photos. So he would have had to have been at least 18, right?
Yeah, because legal.
Yeah, but he looked very much like he could have been just some random grade 10 or 11 student.
Well, he could have been if his parents signed release forms for photography.
Oh, God.
Because as long as it's not actually sexual, like pornographic, then they could actually do that. It would be fine.
Yeah, I don't know that there's an argument to be made that it wasn't sexualized.
No, you can get away with a lot of things when you just call them art.
But what really gets me is not necessarily the photos. Okay, fine, these young men are attractive. I find the night, like the at a certain age, the inability to grasp concepts, like they're just so young. Like, how do you get attracted to that kind of a mentality? But whatever. What really bugs me is the things that she said about it.
Yeah.
Because they were really freaking pedo bear creepy. Like, what's great about underage boys? Well, semen that flows like tap water, hot and cold running semen. That speaks not just of enjoying the form, but enjoying the features as well, which is.
Yeah, it's a little much. And also, you sort of look at it, her she's just got a completely fucked up attitude towards sex in general, right? And the beautiful boys seem to be like essentially sort of like the female eunuch as a title, that it's penis envy. She's envying men their propensity to sexualize young women or something like that, and so she's like, well, sauce for the goose, right? So I should be able to like drool over these underage boys just like men drool over underage women, even though I'm going to condemn men who do that, right? So it's all very fucking weird. Like the female eunuch, like women have been castrated, or the women wish they had penises.
Well, and we've gone on a bit of an aside.
Okay, but
this is probably going to be a 6-hour show.
The men hate women. Women don't realize how much men hate them. Okay, you know what? If men hate me, I really don't realize it, because for the most part, right? 99.9% of the men that I come into contact with on a daily basis, and this includes friends and coworkers and relatives and my kids and my nephews and the guy at the grocery store and the guy at the liquor store and all of these the guys, the freaking Sikh dudes who run the local convenience store. I mean, they're all very nice. They're all very pleasant. And none of them seem to hate me, right? Like
it's a secret hate deep within their souls.
I think like if they hate me, they're hiding it really well. When the Sikh guy, he knows what brand of cigarettes I get? And he's like, 2 packs? And I'm like, yeah, please. And he's like, how you doing today? And I'm like, I'm just doing just fine. I'm like, what's that you're listening to? He's like, oh, this is a new band from back home or whatever, right? And then, you know, or I'm watching on my little tablet, I'm watching a romance from India or whatever, right? From Bollywood. And it's just like we chat, and then he's like, have a nice day, yo. And I'm like, yeah, you too. And then I like, somehow in the midst of that interaction, he's concealing his deep-seated hatred for me.
Well, personally, I think the majority of men in the world are relatively indifferent to me. I think that's the real problem here. This is the real thing that they don't want to acknowledge. That most men just, they just don't think about me or women in, well, I mean, they do think about women, but I think they're in general pretty much neutral to the majority of women. Well, you know, sort of a warm politeness is good enough, and then we just be on our way. But no, we have to have this impassioned, constant focus on women.
That might be it.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're not like 100% in women's corner every single fucking time, that means you obviously must hate them.
Or yeah, because there can't be just a neutral feeling. The women's, they exist.
Yeah, they're okay.
They're okay. They're not bad.
I absolutely hate, though, according to these sorts of people. Because it's something that I love hearing from these times. Like, oh, men have hated women throughout all of history. But, okay. So you mean all of these things, such as chivalrous code, you will always open a door for a woman, you will be polite to a woman, you won't actually speak to a woman who you are attracted to directly, you will in fact go and talk to her parents, and you might drop off a card or a note requesting if she will deign to notice you. Yeah, this is just because, you know, men hate them. Absolutely. It's not, you know, a protective urge. It's not a we're going to treat women well and, you know, make sure that nothing bad befalls them. It's hatred, obviously. It's bizarre. It's this strange line between the whole gynocentrism patriarchy argument that we keep hearing. And I know this is something you guys have covered before. It's this, no, if you want like a class of people or a group of people to protect another group of people, the group of people doing the protecting needs more power in society to make that happen. You can't protect someone if you're inferior to them socially.
Well, you can't protect them if you don't have as much agency, or if you have less agency.
Yeah. But apparently this, and this is something which I find so funny, it's across the world there does seem to be an almost universal desire to protect women, or to make their lives as comfortable or conflict-free as possible. But it's just that it manifests in very different ways. In some cases it manifests in quite a domineering male caste that does seem to be very oppressive on the surface, but it is something that is done sort of with the best of intentions. It's, no, we're going to have quite a heavy-handed approach, but you're going to be treated as if you're a diamond locked away in a safe. Now, you can say, okay, well, that sucks for the women. They don't have as much agency to do as much, but they are being thoroughly protected. Now, you can look at that and say, well, that creates inequality. Does that make people happy? Some people in those societies are, some people aren't. But this is what I mean. It all still comes down to, even in the most domineering and patriarchal of societies, it's still like, no, this is being done for love of their women, not through hatred of them.
Well, this is one of the things that always gets me, is when you have some feminist who says, well, women were, you know, barred from decision-making power over their own lives, and they were barred from this and barred from that, and blah, 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 and so how can you say that that's not hate? And I'm like, okay, so I do all those things with my kids, right? I bar them from decision-making power. I don't give them the freedom to do whatever they want. Does this necessarily mean that I'm doing it out of hate, right? And then they always come back to, did you just, you know, compare grown women to children? And I'm like, yeah, I did, and I'll do it again, because I enjoyed it. You know, you're not answering my question. Is my treatment of my children, you know, determining who they see, where they go, what time they're home, you know, how much freedom they're allowed, what they eat for dinner, right? I control most of the aspects, or I can control most of the aspects of my children's lives while they're minors, while they are under my protection and considered to be my responsibility, right? I do that. Do I do it out of hatred of my children?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah. I've heard.
Okay,
how
well,
you...
yeah, I do hate my fucking children, but whatever. That's not why I do it. I do it to stay out of the child protective services.
Oh, you hear it here. That was just a priceless argument. But first of all, I think we have to get going. I do want to add just a little bit to that. I remember very distinctly a woman from the Middle East saying that, I can't get behind feminism, that because regardless of how, as Teal Deer was saying, heavy-handed the what my male relatives were trying to do, they were trying to protect me. They were trying to make me safe. They were trying to give me the best for me, or what they thought was the best for me. And so I can't get behind feminism because that's not what motivated them. Hatred didn't motivate them. They wanted to protect me. Now, it was, she said, it was paternalistic. It was sort of like heavy-handed. It wasn't necessarily what she wanted for them or herself, but she recognized that this root cause of it all, the root reason why they did it, is because they loved her and they wanted to protect her. And until feminism actually recognizes that fact, it's going to get nowhere in dismantling anything. Agreed. And also, what will end up happening is, because it does not know where this desire to protect women and put them into the tower comes from, they'll be blindsided when it does come in Western culture. So feminists, guaranteed, you promote feminism, you believe in feminism, you as it is now in its current manifestation, at some point you are going to lose all of your rights. And it's not going to be because men hate you. It's going to be because you built the bad man up so big and so scary that at some point they're going to say, oh shit, I can't allow her to have these freedoms. Because I can't bear the thought of her safety being undermined for 1/fraction of a percent, 1/fraction of an instance.
Well, okay, it'll either be women being restricted again, or it will be men who lose all of their civil liberties.
Well, the problem with that, with the civil liberties, is that a lot of those civil liberties are required to keep society running.
That's right.
Eventually there's going to be a decision between keeping society running and giving women the freedom they want with the same expensive level of security. And men who have been raised on the specter of the bad man will prioritize women's security over their freedom. And that will be the end of that. Okay, but we should...
moving on.
Do another 15 seconds.
They know now. The advent of social media sites like Twitter and Facebook has displayed some men's views of some women to a worldwide audience. A lot of it is very nasty. Rape threats, death threats made even against recently a woman whose only crime was to support an X Factor contestant.
Okay, but which X Factor contestant was it? Okay, because if it was someone like Justin Bieber, can I have her Twitter handle so I can send her a threat? No. This idea that, like, and he comes right out and says it after saying, women don't realize how much men hate them, according to Germaine Greer. Then he says, social media has revealed some men's views of some women, and somehow some men's views of some women supports the idea that men hate women. Right? And this is not all men. It's not all men's views of some women. It's not all men's views of all women. It's not some men's views of all women. It is some men's views of some women. Now, the only way you can actually transform that into the statement that men hate women is if you literally assume that all women, that because one woman is disliked, because one woman is singled out for her views, her behavior, whatever, and treated poorly, that this is like a blanket condemnation and hatred of all women everywhere.
Well, they're using, I think, part of the obscurity of the English language when they say, does social media reveal men's hatred for women? Because they could be referring to a subset of men or all men.
Well,
but
yeah, but
it's
the
the Mott and Bailey thing, eh?
women send freaking nasty shit to other women all the time. You know,
Amen.
look at some of the shit that these freaking feminist women have sent to me. Right?
Yeah.
Have said about me. Like, and they don't send it to me like, you know, in a private message or something. They just say, like, in a YouTube comment, I bet you've been teaching your daughter how to perform fellatio since she was 10 because that's all you think women are good for. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I
Well,
feel
unless
sorry for your daughter.
the easy way to explain all of this is that they don't have the ability to differentiate between individual women and individual women's, or recognize individual women's choices or actions. So whenever you direct something negative to a woman, all they can see is woman, woman, woman. That's it. That's it. It just the thought ends there. There's no person inside the woman.
Well, when
woman.
one man commits a crime, all men become criminals, and when one woman is a victim, all women are victims of it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Banana.
I'd just like to point out it ignores, well, several very crucial points, some of which I'm going to reference the actual Pew Research for. I know we'll come to this a bit later. They seem to ignore the fact that about 2/3 of people will never experience online harassment ever. Just ever.
How is that even possible?
I don't know, but apparently 60% of people who use the internet never experience harassment.
They probably
I assume it's because of higher tolerance, like they don't see someone saying you're a dick as harassment or something.
or they don't delve into controversial issues. They post cute cat pictures or something.
Yeah, or something like that. They ignore the fact that actually, again, another point from this Pew Research, women actually think social media, they actually rank social media as more inviting and more supportive than men, which I found really weird. Okay, so women are getting abused all the time on social media, according to you, and yet they rank social media as like double how welcoming it is than compared to men.
Huh.
It seemed really weird to me. But I'd also like to just make a point here. It's like, okay, so some women receive negative messages on the internet. And there's a really interesting thing. It's actually young women who experience these forms of harassment considerably more than older women. It's actually mostly women between the ages of 18 and 24. Women older than this tend to not receive it as much. So I have to look at this and say, okay, what is it about this age range, about this generation that is different from the previous ones that might be causing this? And here's a crazy idea. Do they deserve it? Because if you say stupid shit and someone says, you're saying stupid shit...
Agreed.
It is a little bit of negativity, in some cases, actually justified. Like, I don't see anyone jumping to the defense of... I can't even remember the name of the American... was he a presidential candidate or running for senator or something? And he basically made a video where in the first 30 seconds he was like, oh, that's why I don't think gay people should be in the military. Or something.
Oh, Mike Huckabee or something?
Yeah, something like that. And people were just like, dude, you're fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Is that not like a justified response to someone saying something really stupid? Which makes me wonder, like, all of, like, the most women who receive this stuff are between the ages of 18 and 24. What's happening for women between the ages of 18 and 24? Is it a problem with men targeting these women, or is there possibly a higher frequency of women in that age range doing really stupid shit like making retarded videos on feminism on the internet where they spout a load of bullshit statistics as if they're true?
Yeah, or
Perhaps, as example.
Not even statistics, you know, just saying, I'm going to debunk five myths about feminism, right? And then they're like, feminism is about female superiority. Wrong, it's about equality. Myth debunked, right? No argument, no supporting evidence, nothing. Just, you're wrong, I've debunked you, right? Like, this is what young women tend to do. Young women tend to do that kind of stuff, and then they get a lot of flack for it. But Young men tend to do a lot of stuff like that too, and it's not just that you're looking at 18 to 24-year-old women saying stuff that is necessarily stupid, right? This is social media, right? So you would assume that the people who are following the 18 to 24-year-old person, right, are going to be probably people in about her age range, right? So they're also probably going to be, and especially involved in actual personal relationships, like they go to the same high school or whatever, right?
Actually, can I just quickly jump in there? Actually, this is again another thing from the Pew Research. Most internet users do not actually know who's responsible for their harassment. There is actually a really interesting slide. I can actually just drop it really quickly into the chat. I don't know if you'll want to display it on the screen, because it's quite a useful one. Most people, it comes from strangers or where you don't know the real ID. So acquaintance, friend, family member, and all that stuff is quite the minority. So I can't help but look at this and think, hang on, isn't this maybe a little bit of a presumption of yours that these people are strangers and therefore male?
Well, agreed.
Anonymity is a big thing on the internet, after all.
It is. It
You
is.
mean a presumption in the people who are reporting on this study?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to, before we get too stuck in this, because we are at 33 seconds, I just wanted to say, I take Karen and Teal Deer's point, and I'd like to say, apparently what I'm getting from the both of you is that you think it makes about as much sense to blame social media for young women being subject to some salty language as it does concrete for young men's broken bones.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, like you have literally a bunch of young women saying retarded shit. You have a bunch of young men and women who might object to that, who are all themselves young, right? Like I have never in my life left a comment that is just like go die in a fire, fucktard, or something like that. Like never in my life. I didn't have the internet till 1990. Wait. I wasn't on the internet until 2007.
All right.
So
let's get the next 20 seconds.
I went through all my whole stupid phase long before I had the ability to do that.
Some would say that you still may be in it.
Oh, you.
Yes, I know.
Fucking bitch, shut the fuck up, fucktard. Go die in a fire. All right. Moving on.
Media reveal men's hatred for women. Kate, you're on this program. You made a comment when you were on this program last time. I can't even remember what it was, but as ever,
I remember what it was.
But let's hear it.
Milo called a woman who was interrupting him constantly, and he said something along the lines of, "Okay, we're talking about men here, darling." And so he dropped the darling bomb, which was actually beautiful, and then she got all offended, this other woman, and he started chuckling to himself because he knows exactly what he did and he loves it. And then Kate Smurthwaite started to go on and on about, it's institutionalized sexism, it's institutionalized sexism. How is it institutionalized? You got this fucking fag with like bright yellow hair calling you darling, and everybody's freaking out. So tell me how it's institutionalized, right? Is he president of like something now? And
I think I'm going to have to revise my estimate. It's not going to be a 6-hour stream. I think we're going to end up running out of YouTube patience.
Okay.
Patience with YouTube is going to run out of patience with us and be like, you fucking end now.
Okay.
Are we going to find out that live streams actually do have a time limit that you can't go over?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, moving on.
It was interesting, it was controversial, it was stimulating.
It wasn't. It was a tiny little comment.
What did you say?
It was just about the way that somebody was being addressed. But so let's just do this.
So what's happened to you as a result of it?
Well, so first of all, let's just start at the top. Does social media reveal men's? I mean, absolutely, of course it does. And we've known that these are out there.
Banana. Keep going, though.
And social media does exactly that. It's always done that. It takes all these opinions from around the world, but it actually does a lot more than that as well. And the other thing that it does is it allows people to access you when you should be safe in your home.
No, you are not safe in your home. You are in a virtual space populated by billions of other people. You are not safe in your home. You cannot say 100 people left me nasty comments, therefore it's exactly like 100 people standing outside of my house screaming at it.
The internet is a public space. You use the internet, you are in a public space. If you do not want to engage in the public space that is social media, guess what? Facebook has things like filters that you can apply. You can set your account to friend only. Do that. Just set all of your accounts to friend only, set it to pre-approved lists. You can do the same thing with like Google Circles. I'm not sure if you can do the same thing on Twitter. Do that. Just have it so the only people that you can interact with are immediate family members, immediate friends, people that you've pre-approved, and make none of your stuff public. The moment you make your statements or any of your content public, it is fair game for anyone to comment on, because at that point it is exactly the same as you standing on a rooftop and shouting your opinion. You do not get a special privilege when you don't get the special privilege where you can stand in public and shout your opinion and then no one is allowed to say anything back to you.
Yeah.
If you want to have an isolated, safe, contained thing on the internet, you can do that. Social media sites do allow you to do that sort of thing. But you don't get to spout everything while receiving nothing. You either work on the level playing field where you give out and you receive, or you keep everything within only the immediate people that you want to speak to, and only the people in that immediate circle can talk to you. That's it.
Agreed.
Banana.
Suddenly, once upon a time, if there were 100 people gathered outside your house shouting something at you, you would have called the police and it would have been dealt with. But these days, because of social media, people from all over the world, people you would otherwise probably not go anywhere near, are able to get to you, as it were.
So what was it like?
Banana.
Yeah, and you're able to get to them too, you stupid cunt!
Well, no, Karen. She is but a whisper of a leaf on the wind. Buffeted by the hatred of all of the men's on the internet. She can't, she doesn't, I mean, in a world of pure words, where there is absolutely no strength differential whatsoever, in a world of pure words, she's still a victim.
Yeah, no, and she literally is like, she feels like she should be able to just go and say shit that upsets other people. And they're supposed to keep that to themselves and publicly broadcast it, right? She has a massive, public platform here, say, for instance, right? And she can broadcast her views everywhere, but no one's allowed to actually say anything about it other than, like, she's expecting the people who get mad at her to just yell at their screen, and that's the end of it, and she should be left alone.
The thing is, if she really desperately wants that, she can do it. You make YouTube videos, disable comments and ratings. Oh wait, where have we seen that before, and what's the usual reaction?
I know. Well, I mean, but the stupid thing is, right, like, why would anybody why would anybody disable comments and ratings? Why would anybody moderate their fucking comments?
Because they want to be able to shout disdainfully at the plebs and not have to hear their responses. They want to be able to ride past in their elevated cart being pulled by all their manslaves, giving the middle finger out of each window, and to not get hit by the flung shit that comes as a response.
Well, admittedly, YouTube comments are always and forever very salty.
YouTube comments are absolute cancer. Yes, we know this, but that's not the point.
I don't find that. I've had a lot of very interesting, constructive discussions in YouTube comments. You just have to ignore the ones that are, like, completely useless. I mean, fuck off and die. That doesn't express anything.
Those are not I actually like the fuck off and die ones. It's the ones that say things like, I'm concerned about you. and that I want you to do this thing that you obviously don't want to do, but I want you to do it because of my concern. Or you need to moderate your tone, or you will turn off people. People will, or you'll lose your audience, or something. Stuff like that just like gets under my skin. The ones that tell me to fuck off and die, I'm like, okay.
I just
No.
ignore it. You know,
No, no. Yeah, you want me to fuck off and die? I'm okay. No, I'm not going to do that.
I literally just I have learned to ignore concern trolls. I had somebody actually message me the other day saying, "Oh, I listened to you saying you were eating microwave popcorn. You know that has carcinogens in it. Here's a better way to make popcorn for yourself. Blah blah blah." Right? I'm like, okay. How many people bug me about quitting smoking? Tons and tons and tons all the time. Yeah. Okay, and my doctor never did, and my parents never did, and nobody ever, before I went on YouTube, ever bothered me about quitting smoking. This is a totally brand new nag for me. Never been nagged in this way before, and I get it. People like me. People want me to be healthy. I know it's well-intentioned, right? But I'm still not going to do it. I'm not going to quit smoking. I'm not going to be 220 pounds, okay? I'm just not going to do it. And that's what's going to happen if I quit smoking.
Okay, so there's something from the chat.
Okay.
Ag Any says, I'm concerned about you fucking off and dying. That's pretty good effect. That's a pretty good attempt. I would put some more in there. I'm concerned about you fucking off and dying because not fucking off and dying will alienate your audience. Oh, there you go. That's a good one. But anyway, Banana.
All right, Banana.
So what happened for me was that I was on this show about a year ago, and we were in a debate about gender equality with Milo, and what happened was that afterwards, I received, in 48 hours, I received 165 pages of Twitter abuse, including about 20 rape and death threats, including unpleasant...
Banana! Okay, yeah, I just need to make sure we don't run afoul of YouTube's DMCA.
Okay. All right. But, 20 rape and death threats. Oh, my goodness.
Parents, lots and lots of those.
Because of what you said to Milo over here.
Well, not because, but many of them were from Milo.
I'm sorry. Oh my fucking god. Not because, but just as a directly non-correlating bizarre coincidence.
No, but they came from him. Not because of what she said to him, but he sent them, is what she's saying, essentially.
We're encouraged by him.
Okay, so did he send them himself personally?
Oh god,
that Milo face. Oh, I want to screen cap that. That is just... That is Milo personified. That absolute smug, I'm fabulous and I fucking know it. But yeah, it's like, did he send them all personally? Because, yeah, we know that Milo is basically a professional shitposter. That's why we love him. And did other people do it? Okay, were they anonymous trolls? Is it really anything that fucking matters? I mean, hell, I've had death and rape threats. And what's your fucking point?
Who has, other than that 60% of internet users who don't...
Yeah, who never receive it, yeah.
I mean, my mom uses the internet, but she doesn't tend to leave comments anywhere or anything like that, and she generally shares things that she finds with, her close friends and family, and not, like, to a Twitter account, right? And she uses Facebook to keep in touch with family, not to, because she's an activist, right? Or to augment a public profile that she has. No, I mean, like, she just uses the internet like most people do. 60% of people probably is the, people who use the internet like my mom does, right? So essentially, they're not going to be exposed to any of this because they just don't engage the internet in ways that would expose them. But, I mean, Milo sending, tweeting about that episode, all he had to have done is tweet about that episode and make some comments about what a cunt Kate Smurthwaite is, which she is, as we will all see as this episode continues. And that's all it would take for someone with his following, right, to have, maybe 75 annoyed people or hobbyist shit posters, right, to go over there and give her the gears, right? Like, he doesn't have to direct anybody. He doesn't have to, like, say, all right, my minions, form a hate mob and go and, put this fell she-beast in her place. He doesn't have to do that.
This actually gets covered later in this, I think, like where she actually basically does try and say, like, no, you are absolutely responsible for what you post and how people do it. Like, it's like if you shitpost one person, then because you have like 100,000 followers, they will do it as well, and you're responsible for that. And as he points out, it's like, no, they're individuals. They can do whatever the fuck they want. People level the same accusation at me. It's like, oh, you do videos on people smaller than you. You're forming an army of trolls to go and beat the shit out of people on the internet. It's like, no, I do nothing of the sort. I am incapable of sending people anywhere. Anyone on the internet with a large following is incapable of sending people places.
Or stopping.
People will do things of their own volition. That's how the internet goes. Maybe if someone points out that someone says something stupid, and then someone else reads that and says, yeah, this person is fucking stupid, and they'll go and say that. Okay, fine, they might do it in a way that is not exactly pleasant for that person, but fuck you, it's the internet, deal with it. Don't say stupid shit then.
What they're essentially saying is that anybody with a platform, right, cannot actually criticize anybody else because this is what will happen.
Yeah, it's basically, it does seem to be like, oh, the bigger your platform becomes, just the more moderate and fence-sittery you have to be, lest other people take your opinion and do something bad with it, or some shit.
Yeah, but
no, I'm going to have opinions regardless of how big my platform gets or how small it gets. My opinions and views are still going to be there. That's not going to go away. Why would anyone moderate themselves just because they have a large following of people?
Well, isn't she also to blame then, because she has a fairly sizable platform? That episode of The Big Questions that she's talking about, that's a big platform, right? And people
this is a fucking massive platform.
People were mad about what she said, and so she's also responsible.
Yeah, because okay, let's. I guarantee I know where this is going to go from all the anti-feminists and the feminists. It's going to go down the whole, oh, you're victim blaming thing. It's like, no, she went on a national television show and said controversial shit. Do you really think that people, and keep in mind, this is a citizenry who pays, who is forced to pay for these TV shows to be produced. If you go on there and say things that those people who are paying for this shit to be run don't like, you really expect that you're going to be completely immune from any sort of criticism there?
Yeah. Even if
completely outrageous.
Fuck off and die, right? Like, I mean, fuck off and die is, I mean, like, I wouldn't say it's like a counter argument, but it's somebody expressing their feelings about what you said. So.
Okay, this is a call in from the chat.
What?
Banana.
My head photoshopped onto unattractive bodies, this kind of thing, pictures of me.
I've had my head photoshopped onto a picture of Hitler. It doesn't fucking matter.
Rush Limbaugh had his head photoshopped onto a fucking plucked turkey. Beat that, dear.
Did she say that she had her head photoshopped onto porn?
Onto an unattractive body. And, honestly, me and Dean Esme both had our heads photoshopped over top of the heads of a pair of mating gorillas.
Yeah. But, okay, so her head...
fucking hilarious, mind you. But
okay, her head was photoshopped onto an unattractive body. Yes. So is that what she was saying, that the body was unattractive?
Yes.
Oh, well... So it would have been okay if it had been photoshopped onto an attractive body?
Goddamn lookist, fat shaming.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Buzzwords.
Yeah, what the hell, lady? Be logically consistent.
Uh,
How can you shame that person or the body that you were photoshopped onto? You know, I would have thought it was more of an insult if they photoshopped her onto an attractive woman's body and then photoshopped a bag over her head. But then again, you wouldn't know who it was.
There you go. But I mean, like it's always like they Photoshop me into porn, or they Photoshop me onto like something really unattractive, and it's like, whatever. I don't care. I was Photoshopped onto a gorilla. Get over it. I found it amusing. It was amusing.
Yeah, it's terribly amusing. I think the most amusing, bizarre, I think some sort of hate something was that voice. You remember the demon face saying it was gonna come for us or some shit? Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I think that was Nocturnus Libertus.
Yes, it was awesome. Like I was like, wow, you really got into this. That's excellent.
Yeah, no, a demon face and like a voice synthesizer, and yeah, really creepy and sort of intimidating. And actually, that was the account where my real name was actually dropped the same day I put my real name in my byline at a voice from men. But it was, well, that I discovered that video, and the video was about 3 days old. Right?
Oh, okay. So they not only did they have the demon head they went so far as to actually dox you as well. That's a lot of effort.
Yeah, no, and I mean, like, my real name was sort of out there in an obscure way, but you'd have to really go looking for it. And so essentially, like, you know, like we have this, we had my head photoshopped into that, my face, with Photoshop bruises and blood on it, photoshopped into a, you know, Campbell's soup tuna casserole freaking ad from the 1960s with the, you know, the smiling husband with his pipe and his newspaper and the wife holding the casserole for his approval, right? In her apron and her pearls and her house dress, you know, with my face all bloodied up, right? We had that. We had a whole blog, fucking whole Tumblr blog that was dedicated to hating me. That was the header on, right? So just, you know, Kate, fucking get over it. Be flattered. I was.
Well, also a little creeped out, but yeah, mostly flattered.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm that important? Cool.
Okay, banana.
Related to look horrible or whatever. And the fact is that I'm not the first or the last person to have been on the receiving end of this kind of onslaught. And these are not people questioning what I've said. From Leo and from a group of people that he supports and encourages. And, you know, if I was in that situation and supporters of mine were to say it was...
Banana. Just banana.
And if supporters of hers were
I would, of course, turn around and say, hey, this is not cool, this is not okay. But instead of which, you know, egged on by a community of deep-rooted misogynists, this is the world that we now live in. And it's not just me. Lots and lots of women have been affected by this, including teenagers, including women from all around the world.
Oh.
Only women, though. No man has ever been affected by anything of the like, ever.
I know.
Just so we're clear that's her position.
Yeah,
Men have never received this.
Yeah, there's no, like, T.J. Kirk banana memes going around the internet still years later. You know, because the amazing atheist was caught with his pants down and a banana up his bum. Yeah, no, he doesn't get any flack from that leaking.
Okay, but the thing is that you presume that it's your sex, my friend, and I imagine that it's more likely your actions and choices. But you don't realize the real disrespect that's happening here. You should want your actions and choices to be recognized and have consequences, and not just fall into the void that is the woman's skin that you're wearing.
You feel like you're effectual when you can.
Well, that demon head
reaction.
That demon. I'm jealous, Karen. You got doxxed. He just did the demon head shit.
I think that's me and Danny Boy, and it was a woman.
Oh, okay. Well, this woman did this demon head. It's like, oh my god. I actually really affected someone.
Yeah.
Someone got really pissed off at me. You know, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it.
At least I know that my actions are having an effect on the outside world, right? In this moment, when she's making it all about this, what she's nicely hiding behind her hands, right? When she's making it all about that, she is reducing women down to their vaginas. Their vagina is my vagina is now the most important thing about me, right? Not my opinions, not my actions, not my behavior, not how I treat people, not my ideas, none of those things that feminists claim that they want women to be acknowledged for. No, the most important thing about her and all those other women who get harassed is their vaginas. That's it. That's all they are. They are vaginas who would get this abuse no matter what they say or do, no matter what opinions they hold, no matter what ideas they express, no matter what behavior they engage in, no matter what actions they take, right? If somebody objects to that, if somebody gets mad at them, if somebody has the temerity to say so, then all of that humanity, that's just gone. We're just going to rip that off and just like throw it in a fucking dumpster and set it on fire, because all we want to look at is vagina.
Vagina.
Vagina. Is that your way of saying banana?
Yes.
What have you turned into? What have you turned into?
I used to be such a nice young man.
Well, you did. You're the kind of Führer of the furious now.
But how can you
You're sort of Major General of misogyny.
How can you laugh? Because he can, bitch.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Okay, all right, lady. You make it so fucking easy. Now, I would be the first person to step in if someone actually physically tried to do anything to you. But you make it so easy with your sanctimonious bullcrap. You have no right to put yourself in judgment over other people. And when you do, when you give yourself some sort of moral, self-anoint yourself a moral aristocrat, people get pissed off.
Look at this guy's face.
Oh no, but he's looking at Milo. Oh my God, yeah, I see that, the bald man's face. So much disapproval and contempt. You're responding to women based on their actions and opinions, Milo. You're supposed to respond to women based on vagina. Oh wait, you're a fag. No wonder you don't. Jesus, is this like a subtle form of homophobia too? I mean, if Milo doesn't respond to vagina the way we're supposed to, maybe it's,
I think, to me, it just kind of proves one thing. I mean, maybe not necessarily, but even just look at the looks of disgust from some of the other women around aimed at him. It's basically, woman has made an accusation. Everyone's believed her. Just nothing. Just there's nothing else. No, she's made the accusation. The accusation is enough. He is now guilty and must be crucified.
Well, and the accusation isn't just that he shitposts online and then other people take it and run with it, but that he actively encourages them and does not do anything he knows that they'll do it and doesn't do anything to stop it. And yeah, no, whatever. It's not his responsibility to stop other people from behaving the way they want to behave. And I don't see him ever saying, okay, let's gang up on this person. He shitposts about people and other people are like, fuck yeah, that was dumb, and then they go over there and shitpost themselves.
All right. I just want to address the bald guy with the look of disapproval. I mean, how dare Milo respond to a woman in terms of her actions instead of merely seeing her as a vagina that needs to be protected?
Yeah.
It's like, how dare Milo recognize the personhood of a woman? This is what this guy is thinking. How dare he recognize the personhood of women?
Well, he doesn't realize that that's what he's thinking because and with the connivance and encouragement of feminists, defines a woman's personhood as existing inside her fucking vagina.
Well, no. You see, recognizing a woman's personhood is misogyny.
Yeah.
Fuck, this society is fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like, sometimes it's just all you could do is make weird sounds. And
All
I'll
right.
shut up. All
Banana.
right, banana.
Why have your army reacted like
Dangerous
that? You can't
homosexual.
support those comments.
No, of course not. But here's the thing: I understand why Kate doesn't understand how fame works, but I do. And the thing is, I'm not particularly interested in a professional provocateur who goes out and says deliberately outrageous things, like I do, turning.
Like I do, he's like, he owns it. He says deliberately outrageous things, and then when people say mean things back to him, he doesn't complain about it.
Did he just say that she does that too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and look
at that face.
Yeah, look at that.
How
face.
dare you accuse me of shit posting on the internet?
I actually see confusion there. I'm like, what I see is, what are you talking about? I don't understand that I have a personhood.
Well,
I don't understand that
He
there's
doesn't
consequences.
understand that she has actions and those actions have consequences.
Yeah, this is confusion. This is like, I didn't realize that I had any effect on the world around me. That
Well,
I could cause people to be pissed off, legitimately.
he accuses her of being a professional provocateur. I think that's what she's taking umbrage with, or confused about, because she literally does not see herself that way. She sees herself as morally right, morally righteous, right? Not a provocateur, but someone who expresses ideas that need to be expressed for the betterment of humanity, right?
And they are all the absolute truth.
Yes.
Gospel.
I throw people into the Iron Maiden not because I'm a torturer, but because they're heathens and I'm bringing them the word of God.
Yeah. Essentially, she's doing everybody a favor by pissing them off, and so and the problem isn't with her ideas; it's with people who don't believe those ideas and who have a bad reaction to them, right? And that's the difference between this look, right, and Milo's absolute 100% admission that he says outrageous things on the internet.
Well, of course, the difference is believing yourself to be the people's moral superiors.
Yeah.
So when you poke them with a stick, they deserve it. Milo's just like, yeah, I just poke people with sticks because I like to just hear them squeak. But
Yeah.
she's like, no, they deserved it. Which one is more sinister?
I know, eh? Okay, moving on.
Around and then playing the victim when she doesn't like ridicule or criticism.
I don't say anything outrageous.
Ridicule.
I
Let me
just
finish.
campaign
I'll let
for
you
human
finish.
rights.
I'll let you finish. So stop.
I don't say anything outrageous. I just campaign for human rights. There you go. That is her just, I don't say anything outrageous. I campaign for human rights. I am morally 100% hovering above all of you plebs, right? And anyone who might disagree with what I say. And that's what I do. I don't say outrageous things. Right? Even though just earlier in this episode she said that men absolutely hate women. And social media reveals absolutely that men hate women.
Holy shit! Did she actually say that?
There was she said, getting to the point, of does social media reveal that, reveal men's hatred for women? It absolutely does. She thinks that men hate women.
Yeah, there is no question in her mind, is there? It is an absolute truth of the universe.
Yeah, absolutely 100%. Right? And when you have that to hold on to, that any criticism you might be receiving isn't coming from a place of a counter-argument or, some sort of empiricism or some sort of morally grounded reasoning, right? But that any criticism that you receive is based solely on the hatred of women, right? That gives you license to say whatever the fuck you want and to not take any of that criticism into account. You don't have to listen to any of those people because they're just women haters. I mean, it's a very, very beautiful moral pedestal to put yourself on because you become untouchable in your own mind.
And when you become untouchable, you become very dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah. This is the mindset that gets people shot or shoved in, well, I mean, taken to an extreme. This is
the mindset that makes people angry. And she has no idea that she's doing it. right? She has no idea that she's essentially being a sanctimonious, holier-than-thou cunt who's completely 100%, convicted, committed to her conviction that she is right and everybody else on the planet is wrong, and therefore everyone else should be silenced, should be prevented from criticizing her, because her position is the correct one. Her position is the morally unassailable one, right?
The amount of force you seem to be able to justify seems to be directly proportionate to the lack of doubt in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Her complete lack of doubt. She's in the I don't know if I should say slippery slope, but it's doubt that prevents you from doing excesses.
Yes.
Engaging in excesses.
Yeah.
And it's a very dangerous mindset.
Yeah. When you know 100% sure that you're right and what you're doing is right, it's very, very bad. All right, moving on.
Truly blessed is the mind too small for doubt.
Yep.
Sorry, what? So could you repeat that?
Yeah, blessed is the mind too small for doubt.
Yeah, well.
Seems
Vagina.
very relevant for feminism.
Yeah.
Vagina.
Vagina.
No.
After she lost the debate, as feminists very often do these days, because they
Hold on a
got
minute,
facts on their side,
Yeah.
she turned around and she did what feminists always do, which is confect a sob story. Now, Kate is, like me, a professional provocateur, but only one of us plays the victim afterwards. Now, it's interesting.
Banana.
It's interesting.
That's the question. It's interesting that that it's even being framed like this at all, because what the research shows, the Pew Global data from 2014 shows, is that actually it's men who get more abuse online than women. It is men who get more death threats.
This is nonsense. This is nonsense.
Really?
No, these facts are not convenient. Therefore, they're incorrect.
I'm just going to put something in the chat. Right, let's see if Milo is a liar. Can you pop that up on the screen for people? Not the Milo meme face, the Pew Internet. There we go. Yes. All
offensive names, more men. Purposefully embarrassed, more men. Physically threatened, more men. Harassed for a sustained period, more men. Stalked, more women. Sexually harassed, more women, right? But all of the ones that are the more likely to happen to anybody, right? These ones, or actually probably these two, right? More men than women. And only in these two, which are the rarest ones to happen, right? More women than men. But, I mean, even sexual harassment, half as many men as women. Even if every single one of these numbers was perfectly even, perfectly 50-50, right? It would demolish her argument. Fucking hell.
Vagina.
Vagina. Fuck. But those statistics are nonsense.
Men who get more violent threats. The only thing that women beat men at, and this is Pew Global data, is the gold standard of research. The only thing that women beat men in is cyber stalking. And guess what? A lot of the people doing the stalking are other women. What social media shows isn't.
We just have another moment because I'm a stickler for sources. This one is most interesting, and this one I think is even more telling. And it's who's more likely to be actually upset when they receive things? Who's more likely to kick up an actual fucking fuss when they do receive their disproportionately small amount?
Oh my goodness. Extremely upsetting, more women. Very upsetting, more women. Somewhat upsetting, more women. A little upsetting, more men. Not upsetting at all, more men.
This is the Pew data that Milo is talking about, coincidentally. I've got them all open, so I'll be dropping them in and out.
He did make an error in that he said that it was only stalking. Stalking and sexual harassment are both more likely to be suffered by women, but they're both very, very rare things to occur.
Yeah, they are both the smallest categories by a fair margin.
Yeah, can I offer a possibility here? the fact that women are more upset over these issues is not indicative that they are absolutely worse when they happen to women. Perhaps indicative of a, shall we call it a toxic femininity, in which women believe that their emotional landscape should be catered to. And when it isn't, they get particularly irate.
Yes.
I'm
Oh,
just going to put that
and
out there. I'm just going to float it out there.
I don't think that
this piece actually supports that.
yeah, I
Yeah, I'm throwing sources at you, but this piece actually kind of supports that idea. Because on that one, you'll notice women are the ones who say that actually these sort of social networking things, which is what we're talking about, is more inviting to them. Online gaming is obviously seems to be more welcoming to men, but dating and social things, more welcoming towards women. And as you can see, overwhelmingly, most of the things are actually more welcoming to both. So it does seem to be that actually women are more welcome, but equally they're more likely to be upset when something goes wrong. So there certainly just seems to be a reasonably compelling argument that you could make that it is just women are overall more highly strung. They're more likely to react to anything, positive or negative.
there's plenty of empirical data to suggest that the difference in reaction has nothing to do with any kind of increased severity in terms of the bullshit that women receive. In fact, it may well be that men overall receive more severe bullshit than women do, but women still react more negatively to what they receive. One of the studies that I tend to cite fairly often looks at global sex differences in personality between men and women, and they found that the biggest single difference, and they looked at it in terms of univariate terms, right? So essentially, generally in psychological research, they take a whole bunch of ways that, say, extroversion might manifest, like warmth or social dominance, or venturesomeness, or affiliation, right? And they people score however much on those univariate traits, and then they compile them and compound them into one multivariate trait called extroversion, right? So if a man scores 10 on dominance and 1 on warmth, and a woman scores 1 on warmth and 10 on dominance, then they have the same fucking score for extroversion, and they would be considered in the previous research to be identical in terms of personality because they're equally extroverted, right? Which is fucking retarded, okay? But one of the things that this particular piece of research found that found only a 10% overlap in the personalities of men and women in the aggregate was that the largest single sex difference in the entire thing was sensitivity, which was higher in women, and emotional stability, which was higher in men. And when they removed that, I mean, there was still only a 24% overlap, but, over half of the difference, right? Over half of the overlap was removed when you removed this one variable, this one trait of sensitivity, right? Women are sensitive. Men are not, right? When some dude freaking told Snake Plisskenist when he was still wearing his eye patch, right? I'm gonna rape you in the eye socket in the comments section, and he said, if you're a hot blonde woman, yay! If you're a black dude named Tyrone, not again! I mean, it doesn't bother men. It just doesn't.
I think we have a suitable amount of evidence that we've just displayed that kind of shows this. And this is the shit that these feminists are just outright saying, no, it's a lie. You're lying. It's not true. I think we need to banana now.
Okay. Whoops.
That men hate women. It's that women hate everyone.
Okay.
And that
Yay!
women are the...
Wait.
Let me just finish this. Let me finish this point. I promise.
That's an outrageous thing to say.
I promise I'm going to qualify. I'm going to explain what I mean by that, right?
It's amazing.
Not only
how much airtime you're getting
not
when you're saying all
only.
these
I'm going to get to you.
Okay, explain that to my forward.
Okay, banana just for the copyright nonsense.
Oh my god, this is where it gets really frustrating.
That's what you just said.
Not only.
Take the camera off it.
Not only.
Take the camera off.
Yeah, this is the part that really just absolutely got my goat throughout watching this. He starts saying things they don't like, and it's just, nope, we're going to call for the censorship, demand the no platforming, you are not allowed to speak, you cannot have a voice here.
Yep. What a bunch of cunts.
Not only
Free speech.
Not only.
Speech doesn't mean it's not outrageous.
Well, we'll talk about your free speech about Tim Hunt in a minute. Not only are men the primary
This is
victims.
the man who
Not
said,
only are men the primary
this
victims,
is the man
but
who
women
said
are the
he
primary
wanted somebody
perpetrators.
Wait, let him
Now,
finish.
it's interesting,
Why
isn't
should we
it?
let
How
him
much
finish?
Why should we let him finish?
Absolutely, because he is speaking against the narrative. God damn it, he is not allowed. And there's a hilarious point, which we're going to come to actually in a few seconds, that I remember so distinctly, was one of those women, I don't know which one it was, absolutely vile creatures that they are throughout this. They just get increasingly worse. Actually start saying, like, how long has he been talking for? And what I really want to do is just put a timer up for how long Milo was able to speak before someone interrupted him and compare it to her. Because I can guarantee you she had probably at least 3 or 4 times the amount of time before someone interrupted.
Nobody interrupted Kate Smurthwaite. Nobody interrupted her when she did her initial thing. She was the first person who was allowed to talk. No one interrupted her. Milo sat there patiently, listening, making faces, of course, giggling to himself, as he is wont to do, but nobody interrupted her, right? And the moment that, and he is the second person addressed, right? So immediately after Kate, we went to Milo, and he maybe got 15 or 20 seconds in, the moment that he suggested that Kate says some outrageous things or whatever, right? She wasn't quite interrupting, she was adding her commentary, she was speaking over him, but it wasn't necessarily with the intention of drowning him out or making him stop. But she was still talking over him.
I believe feminists have a term for that. It's called man-terrupting, isn't it?
No, it's called fem-terrupting. Okay, moving on.
How much time is he getting?
Okay.
How much time's he getting?
See?
Connie.
This is the man
Connie.
who went on Twitter recently and said he wanted somebody assassinated.
No, I didn't.
Okay, and this is perfectly fine. An interruption here is perfectly fine. She makes
An accusation.
an accusation of...
And this is an accusation of, because, I don't know, does Milo live in Britain at the moment? I believe he does.
Yeah, no, it could land him in serious trouble.
Yeah, that is actually a crime in Britain. We have a very draconian law which speaks about incitement to violence and racial hatred and civil unrest and all of that sort of stuff. And it is actually something that is illegal in this country if you are found to have said something that makes it likely that hatred will be stirred up or that civil peace will be disrupted or something. Like very sort of wishy-washy, nebulous terminology, and because of that it's not a law that is actually enforced all that often because of the nebulous wording of it. But effectively what she has done on national television here is to level a criminal accusation at him, in essence.
Yeah.
Because it is actually illegal in Britain to do something like that. It would be considered like hate speech or incitement to violence, which is punishable by courts and jail time.
Yeah, no, and
because the UK is totally not draconian. not at all. We're not living, in a crazy draconian futuristic police state, which actually thought 1984 was a fucking manual.
Yeah. Well, and I think he has every right to actually address this immediately the moment it dropped out of her mouth, because...
Well, yes, because it's a criminal accusation. He has every right to legally defend himself from that.
So, all right, moving on.
You're a liar.
Yeah,
you lied about Tim Hunt. You lied about Tim Hunt, and now you're lying about me.
You are.
Please, Milo. Let Connie. You are
a fraud and you are a liar.
If I were to...
Okay, and then she's saying... Wait.
It's kind of difficult to tell because everyone is just going in at once.
Okay.
The man tries to talk, everyone talks. The women talk, total silence.
Yeah, here, just let me...
It's just so telling.
Oh, yeah.
It's the social difference. A woman speaks, silence. A man... No, we can interrupt him, we can talk over him, we can just shout out accusations because fuck that guy.
Oh, yeah, but
a woman has declared him a heretic.
I heard her say something, and I want to make sure it's what I heard.
A man went on Twitter recently and said he wanted somebody assassinated.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
You're a liar.
Yeah.
You lied about Tim Hunt. You said you lied about Tim Hunt. Now you're lying about me.
Please, Milo. Let Connie. Listen.
Make him shut up. You need to moderate him.
Really? I can't get that at all from that. It's too blurry for me to hear it.
Let me try. Let me listen as well.
Please, Milo. Let Connie. Listen.
Yeah, she did.
Holy shit! It is.
Make him shut up. You need to moderate him.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, she didn't need to be moderated when it was his turn to talk, and she talked over him, right? And Kate talked over him. They didn't need to be moderated, but he needs to be moderated after she's leveled a criminal accusation against him on national fucking TV.
Yeah.
The host needs to make him shut up, and the host needs to moderate him.
Yeah. Do not allow this man to defend himself from a criminal accusation. He must be moderated, he must be silenced. We must be able to accuse him of breaking the law without any form of rebuttal from the accused whatsoever.
But we
Go fuck yourself.
We have carte blanche to interrupt anyone we want. Right? This is why fucking Kate Smurthwaite gets so many fucking nasty comments on Twitter. It's the only fucking place anywhere that anybody can actually finish a sentence around her.
Yeah, you know, if you to completely control the public sphere. Ooh, we got an echo issue. If you completely control the public sphere, and nobody can actually talk back to you in any of the polite forms of media, what do you think is going to happen when you give everyone a microphone or a megaphone? They're going to finally be able to talk back to you.
And not just that, it's essentially like people observe her behaving like a bully, right? And she did in the last episode of The Big Questions, right, that she got so much flack for. She was behaving like a complete and total bully. She was behaving like a sanctimonious cunt, right, who thinks that she knows better than everybody else. And literally, it was like the topic was how men feel, and her opinion was, no, you men, right? You men who talk about men's issues, you man, Martin Dobney, who edited a men's magazine forever, right? You don't know why men do the things you do. You don't know how men think or feel. I know better than you, all of that stuff, so shut the fuck up and let me talk because I'm the expert.
Vagina.
Oh, God.
You are a liar.
If I were to lead you all to, if I were to walk out the studio now and lead you all to it, you mayhem would ensue.
Vicky, if you were to walk out of the studio, I would come with you. Because I don't believe you should be giving airtime to someone who is a serial abuser.
I can't believe you're giving airtime to a serial abuser.
I don't know, lady. I don't think you're that bad, but you probably are. Okay, let's get another.
Accuse Milo of serial abuse. I'm gonna just put it in here right now. Citation needed.
Yeah, there you go. People in the chat have been asking for that for a while.
Yeah, you've got it, chat. You're welcome.
Wait a minute. I want silence. I want silence. I want us all to enjoy just a little 10-second window of silence, and then we can all calm down. No talking for 10 seconds.
I'm not sure what else to do to kill the time.
Give Teal dear 10 seconds of free time, and look what he does with it.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got 10 seconds. I can do this, guys. It's a challenge.
God. Like this is like kindergarten. Like he literally has to treat this as if it's a bunch of children. Oh, God.
Let's get through the silence. Vagina.
What were you going to say?
What I was going to say is,
And then he calls on Kate, right? He called on Kate. She had this huge, long, uninterrupted time, right? He calls on Milo. Milo can't even get finish a single fucking point, right? And you know how fast that man talks. He could, like, give you 100 points in less than 30 seconds, right? But he couldn't finish a single one because they were interrupting constantly. He's like, no. It's too much interrupting going on. Okay, Kate, your turn.
Oh my.
Because ladies always go first in this society that hates women.
Apparently so.
I wonder if this guy hates women, the guy who just let her go first. Or her, whatever, this guy whose apparently only role in this entire thing is to look peeved. The bald guy to her, I guess it would be her left.
Oh my God. He looks like somebody's just forced him to eat bird poo.
I'm wondering if he's accidentally put on the wrong glasses, because he just seems to be constantly squinting. It's like, if you've got corrective lenses and your face is still like that, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I don't know.
Vagina.
that I don't want this to be a debate about one individual. I think it's a shame that people give airtime to somebody, whose views and whose completely horrific statements have been so widely seen, and we should be
It's
no
good to
better.
challenge them,
But
isn't it?
the point is that there is a huge, huge weight of, and young women especially, who go out and speak up online are.
Okay, so she says, he's being given a platform despite his outrageous views, and the host says, but it's good to challenge them, isn't it? So I think we can see what side he's on, right? He thinks Milo's views should be challenged. Milo should get a platform so that we can actually directly challenge. People like Kate can challenge his views.
Vagina. Let's see if she actually makes a point.
Oh, she'll make a point. It'll be a sob story about young women or something.
That's not a point.
And I think it's very frightening. I'm often asked to do things like go into schools, and teachers always want me to go in and encourage young women to speak up. And
Hey, Banana, you think it's very frightening. That's because you're a piss-stained coward.
Yeah.
We need to start using the word coward and applying it to women. You are a coward. And for some reason, if you were men, nobody would even want to be your friend. But we give you a platform because we think cowardice isn't, women can't be cowards because that cowardice is a feature of womanhood.
Yeah, it's not a bug, it's a feature. So
yeah.
It's not a flaw, it's just who they are.
Well, congratulations, you're a coward. If you're afraid of a world of words, you're a coward.
If you're afraid of somebody like Milo, like seriously, somebody like Milo, I mean, I've spent time with Milo. There's like absolutely, literally, he is the least terrifying person I have ever met.
I, of course, am the most terrifying person.
No, there are people more terrifying than you, Alison, but you're up there. You're up there, mostly because you're always threatening me.
Yeah, bitch.
Nagging me and calling me bad names and
yeah, I'd be too.
really
I'm like your abusive boyfriend, except I'm not.
Yeah, well, you're like my abusive boyfriend, except it doesn't turn me on when it comes from you. It just
ouch! Shots fired.
It just makes me behave. So
okay, well, in this instance, she is afraid of words.
Yeah.
And she's teaching teenagers. This woman is a bigger threat to young women than Milo.
Yeah, because she's teaching them that they can't go out online and speak freely because of...
Well, she's not just teaching them that. She's teaching them that it's acceptable to be afraid of words. What happens when they want to become, they want to take responsibility in a company? And they have to face choices that don't just have a consequence of maybe being called a bitch on Twitter, but potentially could get people fired.
Yeah.
They're never going to have the emotional fortitude to do that kind of thing. She's essentially teaching girls all the skills of being a professional coward. And not only is she teaching girls all the skills of being a professional coward, she is removing from their tool chest all of the skills of being anything but.
She seems to be teaching women to become houseplants.
Yeah, fuck housewives.
Houseplants, yeah.
Let's go for houseplants.
Yeah, well, but the nice thing about houseplants is if you don't water them, they die. I know because houseplants, unlike dogs, don't complain when they're thirsty.
No, go ahead, Teal Dara. You wanted to say something there.
Yeah, legitimate question for this woman. You go into schools and you talk to women about all these important things. Have you ever been banned from a school? Have you ever had an internet hate mob campaign against you to get you banned from speaking somewhere that you were supposed to go?
She did.
That's happened to one of the people here. I don't know whether she's ever been banned from somewhere, but I know Milo's been banned from several places just because of online activism. Has she ever been banned from somewhere?
She did. She was banned from speaking at, I forget what university it was in the UK. It might have been Goldsmiths, but I'm not sure. But she was banned because as a comedian, she, I think the complaint from the feminists was that she wasn't feminist enough. So she's too insensitive or some shit, or she doesn't respect the feelings of one of the letters in the LGBT.
This particular woman? This particular woman was called too soon?
Kate Smurthwaite. You can Google it. She was supposed to give a speech at a university, and the student union there, the feminists there, canceled the speech because she's not feminist enough.
Well, I can't help but recall the phrase, live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah.
If you want to engage in this ritual combat by moral self-righteousness, then, yeah. Eventually you will die by that.
It's called hoist on your own petard, right? So, yeah, she did get banned from from one single thing because she was not a good enough, a proper enough feminist for the liking of the extreme radicals at this particular university that I forget.
And those would be the really young women, the ones who receive the disproportionate amount of negative anything, according to the Pew Research. I wonder if there's a correlation.
I don't know. No, I have no idea. You know, but it's the ones that want their safe spaces and blah blah blah, and yeah, and they talk about microaggressions and blurred lines as a rape anthem and blah blah fucking blah.
Okay, I have a question. No, a statement from chat, just as a little bit of a change of pace. Marcus Prime says that I know that deers have barbed dicks. That's what turns me on the most. Is this true?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't consider it barbed.
Yeah,
cats do.
definitely do.
I'm pretty sure deer do not. I think you're mixing.
As far as I'm aware, it's just kind of like a bone that just does its thing. It is a little bit pointy at the end, but that's about it.
To Google. Let's solve this conundrum.
Oh God, do we have to do that now?
Well, I can do it. You can continue.
Oh, okay. I'm going to continue then. You guys.
I've
Googled wait. Here's
penile spines. Nothing about penile spines.
Okay, deer penis, Wikipedia. I know everybody doesn't want to go to Wikipedia, but the deer penis is typically very large, and proponents claim to retain its properties, it must be extracted from. What? Why are they extracting penises from the deer?
It's a Chinese thing. I think that's pretty much all I need to say.
All right, you know what? This line of inquiry is horrifying. Let's just go back to the feminism.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Penis.
I'm forced to say I don't actually think that young women are stupid. I don't think that when they don't express themselves, it's because they're all bashful and nervous and they don't know what to say. I think that they know what social media is really like. I think the facts are pretty plain to see.
View of women.
And I think that that if we want young people to speak out and to feel comfortable expressing themselves.
I'm just pausing for the banana. or the penis, or the vagina, whatever.
What we need to make
Or the Chinese remedy.
the
The
internet.
Chinese remedy. How you combine penis, vagina, and banana?
It's an elixir for eternal youth.
Yes.
Okay.
Training the police
More
to
law
deal with
regulation.
these kind of things, and there's a
More
sort of echo in the background.
practical.
It's
I'm
kind
going
of
to come to you in a
annoying
minute, and Connie, I'm going to
background
come
noise.
to you for a nice little bit in a minute.
We need the
Very
police to
quickly.
be trained how to deal with this. We need straightforward training on what, when to act and when not to act, to make sure that the worst things, the rape and the death threats, the horrific harassment and abuse is dealt with. And I think that when we see a few
So she wants people who shitpost to be arrested, is essentially what it is.
Yeah, that
Wow.
seems completely reasonable.
Well, because most of what is considered to be online harassment or whatever, right, is essentially shitposting. It's calling somebody a bad name, or what was the one whole shaming them, right? Which one was it? Purposefully embarrassed. So, I mean, these called offensive names, purposefully embarrassed, those are the things that most happen, right?
Yep. And men are the victims of. So we want a load of men who, as one of the other sources showed, are least likely to give a shit about it. They all need to go to the police and say, someone called me a bad word on the Twitters. Please go and arrest them.
You know, and honestly, this harassed for a sustained period, this is a problematic, hate to use that word, but it's a problematic definition, because I can almost guarantee you that harassed for a sustained period would actually be something like 100 people all coming over onto your video and leaving nasty comments, that you feel like you have to respond to or whatever, right? It wouldn't harassment is the action of an individual or the organized action of a group, right? It is not 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 random people all taking umbrage at what you said and leaving a nasty comment, a single nasty comment each. That is not harassment. You may feel harassed, but none of those people are harassing you.
A wall of individuals is not the same as a group of individuals with one central linchpin demanding that action be taken.
That's right.
But that, I think, is why, in regards to this sort of stuff, as they go on later to doing this, they have to try and pin it all on Milo. It's like, no, you're orchestrating this, you're calling for it, you're demanding it, because they need someone to blame for it. It couldn't possibly just be the actions of lots of individuals individually deciding that is their own individual action that they're going to take. They all have to have been told to do it by some higher power, because I assume massive projection, because that's how they live their life. When they want something done on Twitter, they actually call on hate groups to form on the Twitter sphere and go and harass companies to ban video games from supermarkets and shit like that. So they assume whenever it happens to them, it must have been done in the same way.
Well, I will draw everyone's attention to Exhibit A, which was Stephanie Guthrie in regards to Bendel and Spur and the Anita Sarkeesian face punch game, asking her Twitter followers, should I sick the internet on him?
Precisely.
Okay, this has got to be the most, like, the chat. I'm reading the chat, and it's almost entirely, like, dank memes and deer penis now.
You really expected anything else?
Okay, but...
Hope springs eternal? No.
Okay, how much Hitler is there?
Oh, there's a bit of Hitler.
Okay, how about Goyim?
Not too much Goyim.
Shekels?
Shekels, not yet. Probably Shekels at the end. Yes, but it's not that bad. It's just a lot of... I mean, I'm used to a little bit more meat in the chat.
You know, if you wanted to know
So are you trying to say that deer cocks aren't meaty enough for you?
Oh, no, never. I would never say such a thing.
If you wanted to know what a deer penis looked like, you should have used Google Images, because if you Google animal penises, there are photos of erect animal penises in all of their glory, just pouring
And I've heard that there's like
your screen.
there's a museum in Norway devoted to that as well.
Yeah, that's because Norwegians are fucking perverts. The Danes should have just fucking wiped those fuckers out.
Okay, well, this is an interesting. You know what? I think I'm encouraging these bizarre asides just because the subject matter is so fucking. I think part of my brain has already lobotomized itself at this point.
Yeah, well, we haven't even hit the worst of it yet, so.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, no, it'll get worse. You know it'll get worse.
Shall I get a seatbelt for my brain then?
Yes.
And put it on.
Yeah, no, like put it in through your ear, out the other ear, and then like pull it back and forth to really, really scramble your brains. That'll make you safe. Okay.
Vagina.
High-profile individuals, perhaps including some in the studio, locked up. It'll be.
There we go. It got worse.
Okay, what? Could you go over that again?
Here we go.
I'm going to come to you in a minute, and Connie, I'm going to come to you for a nice little bit in a minute.
We need the
Very
police to
quickly.
be trained how to deal with this. We need straightforward training on when to act and when not to act to make sure that the worst things, the rape and the death threats, the horrific harassment and abuse is dealt with. And I think that when we see a few high-profile individuals, perhaps including some in the studio, locked up, it'll be time for other people.
What?
Banana. Jesus Christ. Yes, let's put Milo in prison because that is the way that people will learn to not shitpost on the internet.
Oh, look at this.
Fuck you, you absolute harpy. And that's the first time I've seen that guy smile.
Yeah,
You realize
Fuck that guy
that
as well.
the first time this guy has cracked a smile this whole time is her saying, we need to throw men like my glorious Super Saiyan hero over here in prison for shitposting.
Okay, well,
Or
he's
maybe
cracked
off
a
a tall
smile.
building. Why don't we just go there instead?
He's cracked a smile because she's given him life purpose. You know, he gets to go and do bad things to other men in name of the fair maiden. You know, this is what this is all about. This is extending the fair maiden's troubles or the evils that are beset upon her to words on Twitters, and that gives him a greater sense of purpose as a man. Now you can go joust for her honor or some shit. But it's like she realizes that no, you have gone from being just a vapid twat to being actively dangerous. Police should not be spending time with your feels. All this will do is just clog up the justice system with bullshit. Because none of these things are illegal. And what they're going to do is they're going to investigate these so-called death and rape threats. They're going to find that they have zero fucking basis in reality and drop the fucking investigation. And you know what will have happened in the meantime? They will not be investigating real things. Like maybe instead of being concerned about feminist bullshit on Twitter, we could actually, I don't know, start investigating real crimes. Or not.
You know where else this is going to go? If somehow they actually convinced police or the government to take this shit seriously, if they somehow manage to cajole their way into saying, no, the police will now actually take any sort of shit posting on the internet seriously as a criminal investigation, we know that it's going to be found that it's absolute bullshit, that arrests are not going to be made because it's like, no, it's a one-off comment, it's not any of this. It's going to cost thousands and thousands of pounds and thousands of hours of man time to do this. And we all know that as a result, nothing's going to get done, and then they're going to come back and say, well, this just proves institutionalized sexism against women because no arrests have been made.
Of course.
So they will have something else to bitch about.
And instead of, maybe diverting some police investigatory power to those untested rape kits the feminists always talk about, which are also a concern for men's rights activists, because there are men who are convicted without having a rape kit tested. Maybe let's divert scarce police resources to this bullshit. Yeah. Fuck the rape victims. It's not like they're important. You gotta help the Twitter victims.
Oh my god. Melody Helmsley is like suffering from PTSD right now, not just because of the nasty comments on Twitter, but because her campaign to get that one military veteran who said, you got PTSD from Twitter bullshit. She tried to get him fired and was unsuccessful, and so that only compounded her trauma. So yeah, it's really these poor dears on Twitter. I don't
These
know.
poor cowards can go fuck
I don't know
themselves.
how they manage. You know, honestly, Twitter is a cesspit. Twitter is a place where it's almost impossible to have any kind of rational discussion at all.
Yeah, it's
and
like. Can I give an anecdote? I've actually had a conversation with a friend through Twitter, and it started to escalate into a battle. Twitter is like, you go on Twitter, and unless you keep it really concise and be very disciplined and say, I'm not going to spend a lot of time engaging people, nothing good comes of it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's not a good place. It is, and it lends itself to, I mean, because it doesn't take a whole lot of characters to say fuck off and die, go die in a fire, go kill yourself. I hope you get raped. I'm gonna fuck your mouth till you choke on it. It really doesn't take a whole lot of characters to say that. But it does take significantly more than 140 characters to produce a balanced and nuanced criticism of what somebody said.
Yeah, Twitter basically facilitates insults and sound bites. But and if that constitutes your entire social sphere, and I'm thinking that a lot of these women are in that group, is insults and sound bites, it's great for you. But people are going to be able to send lots of insults back at you too.
So, yeah.
Anyway.
Right. Milo belongs in jail.
Twitter sucks.
Yeah. Can we just point out that given our knowledge of Milo's preferences and also our knowledge of the average population of ethnic breakdowns of prison, I don't think Milo would find it that much of a punishment.
Oh, actually, he actually tweeted, I saw last night, you know, she wants me in jail. Well, you know, I can't say I'd be upset with being, you know, in the proximity of a disproportionate number of black men, right? So
I can't help but think Milo's only things that he would bring with him to prison would just be a very large bag of bars of soap.
And some tearaway pants.
Well, all right, moving on.
Oh, okay.
And I very, very much look forward to that day.
All right, Milo, I'll come to you. Connie, I'm going to come to you in just a second, okay? That's all right. And we'll have a... Yeah, you can. You were going to come back in.
Yeah,
No, over here.
Someone has to...
See, and Milo thought he was being addressed. He started to talk, and he's like, no, over here. And he's like, oh, okay. And shuts up. It's like the most amazing thing. It's like the most amazing thing when you're in a discussion and you wait your turn to speak. I mean, really. People do that. Like monsters like Milo do that. So, all right, moving on.
Reveal how very similar these two arguments are, because what actually both Milo and Kate are saying is that people can be made to feel victimized and very nervous and scared of the internet, whether that be men or women. But actually, I want to pull, and it's both kind of very pathetic view of how people deal with insults and words.
I think she's got Milo all wrong, but she's got these other two perfectly right. Milo doesn't talk about how people are scared of he doesn't talk about how people are scared of the internet and their fears should be accommodated. He talks about how people are scared of the internet and they need to freaking grow a pair. So I don't see that their arguments are similar at all. But moving on, she does say some interesting things.
Because really most people, especially on Twitter,
I'm talking about
when they receive this kind of crap.
And then she interrupts the woman. There's nobody who's allowed to speak.
No, there's the key, Karen.
Kate Smurthwaite fucking interrupting.
Feminists don't advocate for women or men. They just advocate for feminists. And for only feminists speaking.
Yeah. Well, I think this woman is a feminist. Doesn't she work for BuzzFeed or something like that?
I have no clue. I sent her a message though. I said, "Would you like?" I actually didn't say "would you," but I invited her on a fireside chat sometime if she liked.
I'd actually like to talk to her, but because I'd like to explore why she thinks that Milo's argument and Kate's arguments are similar. I don't think they're similar at all, but that she does seem to well, we'll move on and hear.
And rape and death threats are bad, but when they receive this kind of rubbish on Twitter, they block or they ignore. And I really want to pick up on this idea that women,
please, Kate, let us.
It's very telling. That's kind of, this is what happens. Middle class women decide that they want to take on the plight of women, and that women are victimized. Women can't handle the internet. It's absolutely ridiculous and disgusting.
Hey.
Yeah. Now I may disagree with every single one of this woman's positions on society, feminism, like the sort of like the patriarchy, whatever, right? But this is something that I wholeheartedly agree with. So.
Yeah. It's patronizing to say that women can't handle the internet. The internet should never be a safe space. Women should be able to experience everything about public life. We fought for that throughout history, and here's somebody who wants to shut us away from it.
Okay, well,
well, not technically. Not technically. What she wants to do is shut everything. She wants to build a wall between public life, reality, and women. And then she's going to complain once that wall gets built that women are on one side of the wall and then public life and reality are on the other side of the wall.
Well, no, she wants to change. She doesn't want to build a wall between public life and women. What she wants to do is she wants to turn public life into something that's as safe as your den in your house, where you're on the internet and you're in your home, so you're supposed to be able to feel safe.
Yeah,
right?
But that's the thing, Karen. What you're going to end up doing, what makes the internet valuable is a free exchange of ideas. So once Kate builds her wall, which will have to be maintained by men, and women will be inside the wall, men will be maintaining the wall, and outside of the wall will be men again, creating Internet 3.0, the new free exchange of information and ideas that makes the internet valuable. And she won't realize that this is exactly the same fucking thing that kept women out of politics and other forms of, I guess, more aggressive life. And that, yeah, so there's going to be a new Kate, and next generation is going to complain about the fact that women are in the wall or behind the wall.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and she does. This is a dynamic with zero self-awareness. Women demand a wall be made, demand men man that wall, and then a generation later, then they feel constricted by the fucking wall. They're like, look at what men make us do. We have to stay inside this wall. Well, what the?
We come back to the point of, do you want to be a protected class? Okay, the class that's protecting you needs to do something. Therefore, they get all the powers and the privileges.
Well, not the
Problem
privileges,
of your
the
own making.
obligations.
The obligations, yes.
And it's like, do you want to be a protected class or not? If you want to be a protected class, don't whine about the negatives of being a protected class. If you don't want to be a protected class, don't whine about the negatives of not being a protected class. Make your decision.
But this is why it's a generational thing. This is the generation which complains that they're not a protected class and they want to be. So, as you've said, the next generation will say, we're a protected class, but we don't want to be. We want the freedoms.
Yeah, I guess.
And thus it becomes a cycle.
Well, yeah, but what they want is hot ice, because the freedom, the free exchange of ideas, the risk, the danger is what makes these environments valuable. When you wall off a portion of them to create a safe little harem, they cease to have the value. So the men will be drawn to the value of the free environment in creating and innovating and making and exchanging, and women will be in the safe environment, and then they'll say that the fact that they're in the safe environment is men's fault, when it is their own decision. And you're right, it is a generational thing, and it's so fucking frustrating.
Well, I think, who was it? Maybe Wendy Kaminer might have been. She essentially she talked about how, and also Camille Paglia, how when they were in college in the in the 70s, they wanted all of the freedom. They wanted no restrictions. They wanted nobody to be keeping their honor safe on a pedestal and protecting it. They wanted to go out and have sweaty, dirty, sometimes awkward or unpleasant sexual experiences and all of those things, right? They wanted to do that. And they fought for the freedom to do it. And then now what we have is this imposition on men now, because we cannot restrict women's freedom to do that. That was a hard-won freedom, you see, that women earned for themselves. So it would be completely unjustified in us restricting that freedom by, I don't know, assigning a chaperone to women, or telling them they have to be back at their dorms at a certain hour and can't go out, and restricting drinking and all kinds of other things, and maybe segregating the dorms so that women are not in the vicinity of men after they've been drinking late at night and all of this, right? And no men allowed in the women's dorms after 10 o'clock and all of these things, right, that used to be the norm. We can't have any of that because that would restrict women's freedoms. So instead of restricting women's freedoms to generate the level of safety that these women seem to want, they need to restrict the freedoms of men, right, in the form of yes means yes laws and reversal of the burden of proof, lower burden of proof, freaking no due process. The accusation is essentially the conviction. The process itself is the punishment, and any man can find his life ruined over a 2-year-old accusation by an ex-girlfriend who happened to feel bad about sex that they had the week before they broke up. Like, this is what they want to do. They don't, like, women like Kate Smurthwaite are not advocating building a wall between women and public life. They are advocating changing public life fundamentally. Like, they are literally requiring public life itself to completely change.
Yeah, but the fact will be this.
The sensibilities of women. And this is what they're doing in the campus sexual assault hysteria that's going on right now, is if women feel, we cannot restrict women's sexual freedoms, but women don't feel safe around sex. And so what we have to do is change sex, fundamentally change the nature of how people have sex in order to make women feel safe with sex.
Okay, well, here's the effect. And let's just use the internet for example. If you fundamentally change the internet so it's safe for women,
yes,
you take away the value, the risk.
That's right. Agreed.
And the rewards for the greater risk. So what will happen is that men will go out of that space that you have made safe for women, and they will build a new space, yes, where there is risk and reward. And then women will look at the space that they demanded be built and look at the space that men built for themselves, yeah, to have risk and reward, and they will say, you patriarchal shitlords.
Of course they will.
Look at what you did to us.
Of course they will, but the thing is, they don't have because they don't understand what the problem is. They really don't understand what the underlying causes of all this are, right? And if they could actually grasp for even 1 second that it is women's higher levels of sensitivity, and maybe what women need, right, in order to be able to go out bravely on the internet, is to have training in how to be brave, right? Training in how to ignore stupid shitposting. Training in how to look at a threat, right? When somebody says, I'm going to fucking rape you with a tire iron and then beat you to death with it, right? To be able to look at that and say, you know what? 99.99999% of the time, when somebody actually intends you harm and has the ability to inflict real harm on you, they don't announce it over Twitter first.
No. Vagina.
Here's the plan. Here's the plan. I'm going to go from Connie to Connie. We're going to hear Connie's story, and I'm going to get Milo to respond, and then Kate, we'll get another.
Please know more about these egomaniacs.
No more about egomaniacs as well. And any in the audience who want to say something? Okay, that's ideally how it's going to be structured. All right, Connie.
Did she just get sassy?
Sorry?
Did she just say something sassy? No more of these egomaniacs?
Yeah, she thinks that both Milo and Kate are egomaniacs.
Oh, well, she's right. But
I
Kate
agree.
is an egomaniac who wants to also be humble or some shit, or a victim.
Well, Kate is an egomaniac who has no sense of humor about herself at all, no ability to deprecate herself, no ability to laugh at herself, no ability to, not take herself 100% seriously, right? She's a zealot.
Yeah.
An egomaniac who's just like, oh, my hair is so glorious, and also I'm incredibly clever, and I get away with so much because I'm such a flamboyant gay man, and
I'm so modest as well.
And yes, and I'm absolutely 100. I'm the most humble individual on the face of the planet. By the way, how much do you all love me?
Okay, vagina.
To him and the whole situation, the saga there from Milo Yiannopoulos. Professor Tim Hunt, he made a really not very funny off-taste joke, and
Who are you to say it was not very funny? Because, I listened to the recording, and I recall the audience laughing and clapping. So obviously they found it funny.
Didn't the Americans, leave Britain to get away from people like you?
Oh my God!
Or is that too soon?
I wish the recording was more available. I listened to it. I only managed to listen to it once, and then I could never find it again. Right? But he gave his speech. Connie reported some of his words very accurately. So there were some of the things she cherry-picked them out of his speech, right? And portrayed them as these horribly misogynistic comments that left the audience in stony, offended silence, in her words. They were greeted with a stony silence from the audience. No, they were greeted with laughter and applause, in the spirit in which his words were intended, which was a self-deprecating joke about him being of the older generation of chauvinistic monsters, but I'm so glad women in science have achieved despite monsters like me, and, let's all have a laugh. It's like your 40-pound box of rape joke.
I think you're talking to me. Actually, yeah. I just want to check in with Teal there because he's gotten quiet, and I'm worried that we might have lost him to opiates and frustration.
No, I'm still here. There are no brakes on the Karen train, and I don't really want to be in the way of it.
Okay.
There's nothing that I've really had to contribute. I think everything's been all the nails have been firmly and roundly hit on the head thus far. So
yeah, hit through the plank and then hit.
I do want to know
whatever's below the plank and then hit through that and then fast on the way to the core of the earth.
Teal,
you're pounding the dirt by now, hard.
Yes.
I do want to know, Teal dear, did you get a chance to listen to the recording?
The Tim Hunt speech? No, I didn't. I really wanted to though, because I kept hearing I was sort of one of those people who heard the initial reports it was crazy and sexist, and I thought, was it really though? I'd like to hear the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just couldn't find the whole thing, and then there were all of these reports coming out saying, it's like a totally misrepresented thing, it's basically a lie, and he was actually just like Bane posting himself in his speech, but that bit got very conveniently left out because of course it did. So that's pretty much all I heard about it, but it's just really weird how the initial narrative of he's just this sexist monster sort of stuck around.
I forget I forget what website it was. I think it was behind a paywall or something, or you had to sign up to the you had to sign up for like you get 30 days for free, and then you can buy this paper, right? Subscribe, and pay for a subscription to this paper. And I ended up having to sign up to be able to listen to the recording. I think that's why so few people have actually had a chance to listen.
Okay, so I just have a question about the recording, Karen. Is it something that is like they're basing any? It's a feminist recording? Is it
No,
or
it's just an audio recording of the speech that Tim Hunt gave?
all right?
Right.
Okay.
Connie St. Louis cherry-picked a couple of lines from his speech. It was an impromptu toast at a luncheon. He was asked to stand up and give a toast without a script or anything, and he did, and it was greeted with laughter and applause, and she said it was greeted with stony, offended silence, and everybody was made uncomfortable by it because he exposed himself as a misogynistic monster.
Okay, so basically she misrepresented the entire speech.
Yes.
Okay, so essentially what these people are advocating is for their version of reality to be applied forcibly over everybody else's.
Yeah.
Okay, vagina.
He tweeted that, and then Tim Hunt, his wife, received a phone call while he was still on the plane coming home, saying from London City,
it's irrelevant. Just
whatever, right? That if he didn't step down from his honorary position, he'd be fired, right? Because of this, because it was blowing up on social media while he was on a plane and had no access to the internet. So that was what he got off the plane to.
Yeah, I actually don't know the story. Did he get fired?
No, he resigned so that he wouldn't be fired, and he was dismissed from the Royal Academy or something, the Royal Institution, or he was.
I'm surprised men aren't more frightened of social media.
They really should be. I mean, women too. There was that one woman who made the unfortunate AIDS joke on her way to South Africa. She was in the airport about to board the plane, and she tweeted out an AIDS joke. Something about, I'm going to South Africa, I hope I don't get AIDS. Oh, wait, never mind, I'm white. And by the time she got off the plane in South Africa, she was like just bombarded with, like, she was international news. Right?
Wow.
Because
this is insane.
Yeah.
Okay,
this
so
is how vapid society is now.
Yeah,
someone makes a joke in bad taste. Congratulations, your name and face is on the front page because fuck you.
It's like they're turning society into some sort of bizarre version of Mad Max. It's not like Road Warriors anymore, but it's still as chaotic. You can't expect to keep a job or your social sphere if you make any kind of possibly offensive comment.
Well, there was that incident and the Donglegate incident were both covered in depth in a book called So You've Been Publicly Shamed. I forget the author's name, but I would recommend the book. I read a chapter of it that was posted on a website, and very, very interesting look at sort of just, I mean, he interviewed both the guy who got fired in Donglegate and Adria Richards, and and he takes a fairly balanced approach to things, and so I would actually look into that if you want to sort of see what the real dangers of social media are, which is the real ways that it can impact your life, which is not that it hurts your feelings or makes you upset in the moment, but that it can ruin your livelihood, ruin your career, ruin your reputation. And essentially, you end up living in your fucking car.
Okay, this is the real risks of social media. Like, this is it. That it has nothing to do with feeling offended at someone tweeting, I wish you get raped because I'm the most passive-aggressive non-rapist in existence.
Yeah.
This is it. Losing your livelihood. Having your career torched. These are the things that are the real risks of social media. And the reason why they're risks is precisely because of the thugs on the, I guess it would be, for us, the left side of the room in this particular. You see, Milo isn't a thug. They say he's a thug, but he's not, because I don't think that Milo would ever want to get someone arrested or fired for disagreeing with him.
Yeah,
And yet,
I don't think he's ever gotten anybody fired.
and yet these women on the left side of the room and men want to promote basically chaos, in which the one with the largest moral gun wins, and you have to submit to them and grovel and go on your frickin' stomach.
Yeah, but the moment you do that, you've lost.
Yeah, and the moment you do that, you're just saying, well, I've lost with me for the rest of my life.
Whatever you dish out to me. That's what you're saying. It's a sign of weakness. It's blood in the water. And it is an admission of moral culpability, right? At which point they can now justify, you've admitted you did wrong, now we can justify hurting you more.
Yeah.
So.
And how do you run a society like this?
Well,
you don't. It's basically vigilante mob rule, where the most oppressed person is the person who holds the most power.
Yeah, but ultimately, this is not rule of law. It's not justice. It's not logic. It's not anything that can support a long-term society.
No.
This is fucking moral max. Beyond goddamn Thunderdome.
It really is.
It's the Wild West of morality, and how long can this last? If nobody can be assured of having a secure position, if they can be fired for any minor infraction of annoying these people, the people with the fucking biggest moral guns.
There you go.
Like, this is we look at these women, and they look like they're just women, and you can hear in Kate's voice, she just has this little tremulous quality to her, where she always seems like she's about to fall over. Like, she has so much estrogen pumping through her veins, I'm surprised she hasn't turned into a tampon. But the thing is, she is the gunslinger of the old OK Corral Saloon, the one with the black hat who's going to kill everyone in the process of wrestling the cattle. That's what she is. She's the biggest gunslinger in the fucking room, aside from the one with the dreadlocks.
Yeah.
Who actually is really only a sidekick to Kate. Let's face it.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's quite the piece of work. Okay, we're going to move on.
He did it in was it a lecture hall? It was a room full of in South Korea. Some would say it wasn't hugely offensive. Got worldwide attention. Ultimately, nothing to do with you, but he lost his job. But
nothing to do with her. Oh, fuck you, fuck you. Okay, sorry. Moving on.
You had drawn people's attention to it, but then the reaction to your.
It's only nothing to do with her if she reported it accurately, which she did not. She reported it in a misrepresentative way, which led people to believe that he had said horrible, horrible things that were taken as horrible, horrible things by the audience. That's what she reported. She did not report the truth. She reported some twisted, fucked up version of her truth. She was offended by what he said. She projected her offense onto everybody in the audience, despite their laughter and their applause. She only focused on the things that personally offended her, the 2 sentences or so, or 5 sentences of his speech, right? With none of the other shit. She reported it like that, but and he ended up fired for being the misogynist that she portrayed him as, and yet it had nothing to do with her.
All right, question. He has no recourse for false determination?
There was a member of the board of directors of the National Academy, or whatever it is, the National fucking Institute of Sciences, right? The big freaking cajone, or kahuna, right? Cajone? The big cajones. Kahunas.
Cajones is something a bit different.
Anyhow, okay, that's Freudian slip. But there was a guy who actually stepped down after serving for years on the board in protest at him being kicked out, at Tim Hunt being kicked out. Stepped down and said, I cannot tolerate this. This is not okay. Right? Tim Hunt has not been reinstated. He hasn't been offered his position back.
He can't sue this woman for misrepresentation. Like, he can't sue her
Well, no,
for incitement of something.
he can't because misogyny is not technically a crime. You know.
So actually, it would be, if they actually made misogyny a crime, people who are accused of it could possibly have some recourse to sue the fuckers right back.
Yes.
Oh my god. Maybe we should encourage them making misogyny a crime. Then we can have the misogynist police investigate it, and if it's unfounded, we can sue you people.
Yeah.
You fucking, you gunslinging moral tards. Okay. This hits home. You know, Karen, I know that you probably understand why it hits home.
Mm-hmm.
To have your career torched because of a bunch of fucking tweets misrepresenting something you did.
Yep.
Oh.
All right.
The action was just extraordinary. What have you gone through?
So this has been really dreadful, and it's kind of exhibited here by the way Milo felt he could just shout abuse across the studio at me.
Get fucked! Milo has done nothing of the sort. He has sat there very calmly, very patiently, while all of you have talked over him, called him a liar, and demanded that he be thrown in prison.
He called her a liar. When she made the accusation, he called her a liar. He called her a liar repeatedly. She called him a liar. So, okay, they're each given as good as they get. You know, liar, 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 pants on fire.
How can she immediately forget her own actions? I mean, that has to be some sort of mental illness.
No, it's, you know, I am still waiting. I am still waiting, and I told Gad Sad this, and I have told other people this, and I will continue to tell other people this, particularly people in the field of psychology, academics, who I am in contact with, you know, on a semi-regular basis, you know, that they email me to say, please keep it up, and the whole bit. I'm still waiting for that one brave researcher to go to a feminist group, a feminist conference, a feminist convention, a feminist event, right? And hand out questionnaires aimed at determining the prevalence of borderline narcissistic and histrionic personality disorders.
I'm just trying to climb into a brain that can do that.
No, it's a borderline personality disorder trait to forget the past or reinterpret the past almost immediately, to deny, attack, and reverse victim and offender, to essentially come to the conclusion that the truth is not the truth because the truth is mean to me.
I climb in there, and it just you just have a flush lever in your brain. Forget all previous actions in the last 20 minutes. Flush, and out they go. Just fucking. Okay, guys, I'm bearer of bad news. We may have to stop in the middle here and pick it up. Sorry?
Oh no.
Yeah, well, no, it's just that I have to do something at 5, and we're at an hour and a half, to then. And
Okay, so we've got another hour. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go.
Speed through it.
Okay.
But remember the 20-second rule, and we'll just say banana.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I think what's really interesting about this is that it's not about how people use the Twitter. It's about people trying to maintain a political status quo. So a lot of what goes on, there are people in America like Rush Limbaugh.
Banana. Yes, you are, lady. You are. You are one of the gunslingers who wants to keep the moral chaos so nobody knows what the fuck is going on, and when they are hit, so they don't even know when they're being targeted when they get hit by a bullet. You're one of the thugs who wants to continue to rule the Wild West. Yeah, you are trying to maintain a particular moral landscape, or political landscape, sorry. Well, I guess morals and politics have been equated now.
Well, all right, moving on.
very right-wing ideology, and that means they don't want to hear from women, they don't want to hear from people of other colors, they don't want to hear any other contrasting conservative view.
I don't think so. You know, like, as a conservative, right, you are in such a fucking bind, right? Because if you actually embrace a conservative like Thomas Sowell, right, you get accused of tokenism, right? Oh, he's your token black. And he gets accused of being an Uncle Tom. By who? Not by conservatives. By the left. Right? So, like, fucking, how are we supposed to please you people? Right? The only way to please you people, you, Connie St. Louis, is for conservatives to disappear.
Yeah, that you just want a hegemony.
God.
And incidentally, you are yourself a conservative.
Well,
because I'd like to propose that conservatives want to maintain the moral typecasting as it relates to gender roles. That's what they want to preserve.
Yes.
Which would immediately make women like Connie and women like Kate some of the most retrogressive, knuckle-dragging conservatives in human history. And interestingly enough, it would turn all of the right into progressives. Because at least they embrace the idea that women have some should have consequences to their actions, and some form of accountability.
Well, and because women actually have agency and they actually have the capacity to do harm.
All right, banana or vagina or deer dick, whatever it is right now.
Penis.
And these people are very loud, and these people are very determined to shut a lot of people up. So,
okay, but calling for Milo to saying you need to shut him up, you need to moderate him, and applauding when somebody suggests he should be thrown in jail for his opinions, that's not being determined to shut people up.
Yeah, no. They can completely and without any kind of twinge of hypocrisy advocate that when Milo speaks, that's shutting him up. But when they advocate for him to be jailed and probably not to have access to the internet, that's not shutting him up.
Oh my God. I
know, it's like
damn feminist wormholes.
Yeah, feminist wormholes and also the flush lever in their brains.
It's bizarre. I can't understand how this woman can possibly think like this. Like, actively calling for someone else's censorship and not being called on the fact that you're calling for someone's censorship. And that's you actually calling for someone to be silenced. But no, they're the ones who are trying to silence you when the person who's silencing you is sitting there in complete silence and allowing you to say all of this.
Yeah.
The fact that he even has the ability to speak is silencing her, Teal Dare.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. It's like, this idea, it's like, oh, if someone speaks, their voice must instantly be silencing someone else. They don't seem to have in their mind this idea. I suppose it's this privilege-oppression dynamic that they constantly have in the back of their minds. The idea that if someone who they believe is in a position of some inherent privilege speaks, then that voice must be at the expense of someone who is in some way inherently oppressed. They can't, in their mind, have this idea that both voices, even if we accepted the privilege and oppression bullshit that they spout, even if we accepted that as absolute truth, they still can't have in their mind this idea that both of these voices could exist simultaneously within one space and be given equal weighting. They can't possibly comprehend that. It's kind of a stupid thing to say that because, you know, it's not always worth necessarily listening to both sides of something. It's kind of a fallacious argument to say that every voice is totally equal and valid at all times. But it's just this idea that, no, if this one person is speaking, it must be at someone else's expense. It's bizarre. No, two people can speak and not be detracting from each other's
ability.
Stage time or air time or platform time, whatever fucking buzzword you want to call it.
Well, and then they accuse us MRAs of thinking of things
Men's rights activists.
in a zero-sum fashion, right? That gains for women must necessarily, this is how they say we think, gains for women necessarily come at the expense of men, right? No, that's not how we think. But we do think that gains for women should open the door to gains for men. When women have bodily autonomy, well, men should be granted bodily autonomy, right? How does advocating against circumcision remove a woman's right to anything?
Penis.
Penis.
I report something, I'm a journalist, I can report things, and in the end, in order to protect some stupid comment, then I have to be discredited. I don't have to be discredited.
No, you didn't have to be discredited, but you were.
You really fucking deserved it.
You were, because you know what? You lied. You fucking lied. You stupid lying cunt. And you know what? If I was sitting in the studio with you, I would have a really hard time not using the word cunt. Moving on.
Nothing wrong. I'm not a liar. I don't have to even defend myself. As a journalist, I can put a story out there.
What happened to you? What kind of abuse did you have online?
So
I
didn't just have abuse online. I had lots of letters sent to my office that were very racist. People would phone me up and scream really racist things. They would send me pictures of...
Well, why? Why would they be screaming racist stuff when your transgression was about sexism? I don't understand that.
My point here is she says she shouldn't have to defend herself.
Yeah, no, she
bullshit. It's like, no, if you say something that is demonstrably false, you do need to then defend yourself in that situation. You then need to either present the evidence or look at the evidence that's being presented and say, no, your interpretation of this is incorrect because, or you need to say, no, my interpretation is correct because.
Or even I was honest.
You can't just sit there and say, I am better than this. I don't need to report to you, plebs. Well, what I say is gospel.
It's even more interesting because she has deflected from... This is an allegation of having lied or having, I assume, slandered, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or libeled or whatever. And so she has made an allegation which is false. She has deflected from having to prove the truth of her statement and having to make and having to make explain how that's consistent with the journalistic ethos of not lying your ass off. She has deflected from that, from the consequences of her actions and the expectation of accountability, to being a victim of all these racist letters. I don't give a fuck. They're irrelevant.
Yeah.
Defend yourself about the allegation that's being leveled at you.
Well, she shouldn't have to, though. She shouldn't have to defend herself.
Why should... That's the thing. That's what she's saying. Because I'm a victim of these irrelevant racist letters, suddenly I don't have to address or defend myself in this other matter.
I don't even think that's the thing. I think she thinks that she shouldn't have to defend herself at all, period, racist letters or no. She's just using the racist letters and stuff to deflect attention away from the fact that she has just said that as a journalist, she does not have to defend her integrity. She does not have to defend her credentials. She does not have to defend her ability to do her job in a way that is consistent with journalistic practice.
This is like watching an oil industry, like a CEO of a gigantic oil company who's just flooded an entire Alaskan, coastline with easy crude, and he says, I don't have to defend my actions. I don't have to defend anything. By the way, I am a victim of lots of letters of people who don't like CEOs of oil companies who flood Atlantic or the Alaska coastline with crude. Like, what the? Why don't people just recognize that women like this are the same kind of fucking trash as people, as what we do, Rick. And you know what? This is why we want old white guys to be our fucking politicians. Because we can say that. And we can point to that guy who's just announced this ridiculous thing, like, I'll have to be accountable for this. And we can say, yes, you do! Yes, you do! And nobody gets on our case about it. I don't want politicians to be any other than the group of people we can criticize and hold accountable, which apparently right now is old white guys. Yeah. But this is a person, this is apparently possibly a sociopath who is essentially saying, I don't need to be held accountable to the standards of my fucking profession. And nobody is calling her out on this. They're pampering her fucking ass and saying, oh yeah, you got some racist letters. That totally explains why you don't have to be accountable to your fucking profession. And she gets away with it. That's what's so fucking infuriating. And why would I want anybody in a class of people who can get away with almost everything to be in any position of power over anyone?
Agreed.
And it's, oh God. And then the letters of racism are apparently, as you were saying, Karen, caltrops. They're just like she's throwing out a smoke bomb and then she's running out the exit.
Fried it.
Oh God. Anyway.
That's
this is the bullshit when you think you're oppressed like that. I swear I've heard this shit somewhere before. It's if you are oppressed or part of an oppressed group, supposedly, any action against your oppressor suddenly becomes justified. Because the typical feminist response of, well, it's fine if a woman falsely accuses a man of rape because it opens up a conversation about it.
Yeah.
That's the sort of bullshit that we're using here. It's like, it doesn't matter that I lied about someone so that he was basically forced to step down from his position. He might as well have just been fired because I am an oppressed minority and I opened up a conversation about it. And the conversation must be about the racism and sexism of old white guys because she is the oppressed minority and therefore any action that opens a dialogue is justified. That's how this logic works.
We got to get rid of this logic because it's creating some sort of Wild West moral fucking Armageddon.
The oppressed is it's fundamentally different from the violence of the oppressor. It's called punching up, you guys. She's punching up. She was punching up at Tim Hunt when she lied about him. She was punching up at Milo when she lied about him. She's punching up. She's just punching up. You know, and the violence of the oppressed is justified.
Okay, once again, time restrictions.
Yes, go.
With saying go back to your hut, go back to your jungle, you're not welcome here. It's like we are back 50 years in the racial economy of this country.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Do you think that maybe people like you might have something to do with that?
We must notice the race of people before anything else. We must segregate black people from white people because white people oppress them. We must give women their own carriages in trains because otherwise the men will rape them because they are uncontrollable machines. Do you really think that... Do you see why this is going 50 years backwards? This is not from the normal people in society. This is from people like you. You filthy, racist bigot. You are the sorts of people who are saying, we must notice race, we must notice gender. All of these things are more important than your actions. That is the society we had 50, 60, 100 years ago where that was the case. That is what you are calling for. Ta-da! I solved your fucking mystery, you moron.
And also, additionally, I noticed that she's completely gotten the subject off of her own malfeasance.
Oh, yeah.
Sleight of hand. No, look at the society over there. It wasn't me that caused the Alaskan scoreline to be covered in oil and crude. It is all of your hunger for oil that has caused this. It is society's fault because you all want to drive cars. Ugh. And she's not going to be called out for that. Okay, let's.
No, she's not.
People are really crude, and it's very sad for people like me who've been here and you're trying to make things different for the next generation. And there's no change. This country is just as racist, just as white male privileged as it has always been.
Some people. These are some people. These are people who never say it to your face.
Okay,
Why?
Banana.
To your
Just because of the DMCA.
Okay.
face, and they always say all these abusive things. They won't stand up and own their
It's
statements.
a minority of men.
And
Sadly,
it's not
the
about
internet just
hatred.
ignored them.
It's a minority of men.
This is victimized as a currency.
Hang on.
No, it's hundreds and thousands of men. If you're
It doesn't matter if it's hundreds and thousands of men. How many billion fucking men are there on the internet?
Regardless, you lied. You lied. You got somebody fired, and you presented it, and you presented something that you could potentially be sued by slander. You are a horrible human being. I don't give a shit what moral landscape you think justifies your actions. It doesn't. Now, this is a complete and utter digression to the issue of your moral actions, which remain as a problem.
Yeah.
And believe me, until people like yourself
The only
are held accountable, I will never vote for you.
the only thing she has said about her actions is that she shouldn't have to defend them.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that she has said.
That you shouldn't have to defend your actions. You know why
I'm
people...
a journalist. I can report a story. I shouldn't have to defend myself.
Do you know why people vote for old white men? You know why you say that they have privilege? Because they don't. When an old white guy fucks up, everybody forms a line to butt fuck him. Everyone. If you were an old white guy, you would get away with none of what you were doing, and you had lied, you would have probably been fired. And everyone would be booing your ass off the
Look at Hillary.
stage.
Look at fucking Hillary. Hillary has broken the law. Hillary has broken the fucking law, federal law. Right? And then she deleted emails to cover up the fact that she broke federal law. And she's running for president. And you know why? Because if you criticize that, you're only attacking her because she's a woman.
Okay, and that's exactly the problem. Nobody wants to vote for someone who cannot be held accountable. So as long as you allow minorities, well, non-Asian minorities, because I somehow hold Asian people accountable, and possibly also Jewish people, but everybody else, they get a get-out-of-jail card free, and women, if you cannot hold those groups accountable, nobody in their fucking right mind is going to want them in any position of authority over them. Because when you have someone who you cannot hold accountable in positions of authority over, you have an aristocracy. In fact, you have worse than an aristocracy. You have some sort of fucking dictatorship.
The aristocracies were at least held socially and morally accountable to those beneath them, to protect the serfs and peasants and and all of that. Everybody is coming to the castle right now because I stirred up shit with the neighbors and now they're coming to fuck our shit up. So you're all gonna come in and oh, you had a lean season? Okay, well, here, I'm going to relieve your tax. There was an expectation that the aristocracy actually accommodate the lower classes at least a margin, right? And be held accountable for the problems of the lower classes at least a little bit, right? I forget, noblesse oblige, right? They had an obligation to the lower classes.
Vagina.
trying to.
But there are millions of men, right? So
yeah.
Milo, I said we'd come to Milo. I mean, I know you want to respond to that, but you did this poll online.
Yes, it is.
I know you want to respond to that, but let's talk about this instead.
I think Milo has been able to speak for about 30 seconds and only about 15 seconds uninterrupted, up to the point where we're 12 minutes into a 19-minute thing.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
this is unbelievable.
yeah, no. And then it's like, I know you want to respond to that, but let's talk about this poll you did instead.
Okay, let's hear what Milo has to say.
Well, but before we go anywhere, I'm just going to lighten the mood. We're going to talk about that poll that Milo did.
Oh, well.
There we go. Moving
Did
on.
you have anything to do with that poll that Milo did? No.
No, but I wish I had, because it was a poll. I don't know if you've seen it.
We come to Milo. I mean, I know you want to respond to that, but you did this poll online.
Yes, it is.
What would you rather your child had, feminism or cancer?
Yep. And 22,000 people voted, and people voted in favour of cancer.
That's a good
now,
thing.
what these...
That's pretty sassy.
Yeah, no, 55% of people voted cancer.
Well, it's like this is to be honest, this is a completely unscientific poll.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Milo knows that this is a completely unscientific poll.
Of course.
Why are we focusing on this poll rather than the results of the actual Pew Research? That seemed to just fall into the memory hole.
He's going to bring it back around to it, but let's listen to more.
Statistics show us is that in just 2 years, the number of women who identify as a feminist in the US has gone from 28 to 18%. The number of British women who identify as feminists has slumped to an all-time low of 7%. Why? Because these are the kinds of representatives of feminism. Professional provocateurs who play the victim after the fact.
See, and then, like, there's still, like, she still can't keep her mouth shut.
Yeah, she still does not want to cede the floor 1 inch. Okay.
Fuck.
And professors of science journalism who deliberately misrepresent statements by Nobel Prize-winning scientists in an attempt to end their career, who repeatedly lie to journalists, BuzzFeed, The Daily Beast, the BBC, all of them have had to issue...
It's a lie, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying, right?
Shut the fuck up, he has the floor.
Yeah.
And before we go any further, can I just point out, Professor of Science Journalism.
Yeah, no, she's a professor at London City College, I believe.
Yeah, there is no other response to that. It's like, you're a professor of science journalism.
Did you just go backwards, Karen?
I did because it was interrupted.
You went back quite a bit, I think. But let's go.
Who repeatedly lie to journalists, BuzzFeed, The Daily Beast, the BBC, all of them have had to issue
You're a liar.
All of them have had to issue corrections over statements you made.
People can just look this up.
And they can't fucking stop talking.
And they cannot admit, he could put this up in front of them and said, these are the corrections that people have had to issue based on your lies.
Yeah.
And they would continue to say, no, it's not me. Yeah, I really want to get the Wally. Why aren't you getting... I mean, these people have not grown past the age of 3.
I didn't do nothing.
Yeah, but you know, this is the behavior of 3-year-olds. You find a 3-year-old in the kitchen with her hand in the cookie jar, and what does she say? It wasn't me.
I didn't do it.
I didn't do it. You have chocolate all over your face, and you have a cookie in your hand. I didn't do it.
It was
what is this society doing to women?
It was the leprechaun done did it.
What is it? How is it possible that a person can get to the age of, 50, 40? These women are in that general area and still be acting like a 3-year-old. This isn't women's problem. I'm going to say that. This is society. You should have been spanking these women. This is our fault. You should have been showing these women their fucking consequences all throughout their lives. Or maybe they're congenital sociopaths. I don't know. But the fact that they're getting away with it right now is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Vagina. Sorry, Teal there.
That's fine.
A professor of science journalism who fabricated her CV as well.
We have to get a response from that. Audience, in a minute, put your hands up so I know where to come.
If you're not going to let me make the case...
Well, she has to respond to that.
Well, I'm going to make specific...
Put your hands up so I know where to come.
Oh, God, I'm sorry, I hate this. Milo tries to respond to an accusation earlier. This guy says nothing. Just nothing at all. He allows the women to continue shouting their accusations while Milo has to defend himself. He just simply says, you fabricated your CV and all that stuff. Oh, no, wait, we have to stop you there because she has to be allowed to respond.
Yeah, no.
Unbiased presenter is fucking biased.
Yeah, no, he totally is. And you know, you look at it and Milo even says, well, you have to actually allow me to make the case before she can respond to it, right? She did fabricate enough of her CV that the university or the college or whatever she works for took it down after attention was called to it. They took it down and removed all of the parts that were falsified and then put it back up.
Yeah, that was the only punishment for it. She had to rewrite it. That's all I ever found out. She didn't lose her job.
No.
She wasn't forced to step down. She wasn't, as far as I'm aware, there was no actual punishment. It was just a case of, you have to amend your CV, but you get to keep the job that you got with a falsified CV.
Yeah.
Why not? Okay, hey, how about this? I work at NASA. I'm responsible for all of the, you know, life support machines, all the oxygen recycling, all that really important shit. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm just a house painter. I don't actually know any of that shit. Okay, just amend your CV, but we're not gonna fire you or anything. You can still work on the project.
So these are blatant liars.
Yeah.
They're blatant fucking liars. And they would not have gotten this far if they were anything other than women and certain types of minorities.
Yeah.
I think that we would even come down like a ton of bricks on the so-called model minorities like Asians and Jewish people who attain higher positions and have more, you know, higher grades and income.
If one of them was a black man, I mean, like, look at what Obama had to deal with the birth certificate thing.
Yeah. So
right?
if they're
and the sealed educational records from Occidental or where the fuck he went. Right?
So as long as white women can maintain their privilege, black women can also enjoy it a little bit as well.
Oh no, they enjoy more privilege. I think that.
Yeah, but they're not quite. You see, the thing is, the difference is.
I think that
she had the privilege of not losing her job when she lied to her employers, whereas a man had the privilege of being forced to step down after someone else lied about him.
Yeah.
What does this tell us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Vagina.
At themselves, I'm sure really not many people are interested in what's going on between you three. They're not, because I mean this is what people like this do on Twitter. They create a hubbub around controversial stuff. They say this poll, if you're any kind of like intellectual person or with half a brain, you'd laugh at such rubbish. I don't, but I also don't want to. I have, you know, this is the whole thing about Twitter and the internet. If you're going to be a political person and
yeah, you can actually
are political people. You put out opinion there, and I often put out opinions that people find absolutely abhorrent and disgusting because they don't agree with me. And the emotional overreaction to that comes in the form of you're fat, you're this, all horrible stuff. Yes, and it's unpleasant, but the whole point is, as you're taking that risk to step out.
Okay, well, first of all, there seems to be multiple things happening. These women over there, specifically the black woman, have done things that are, at the very best, extremely ethically unquestionable, and at the worst, can actually get her into a court of law.
Yeah.
So that's a separate issue of them advocating. These criminals and unethical people advocating that their group should allow them to be able to run roughshod over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're watching a competition between a group of people who believe in the rule of law and a group of people who are like, no, we want the chaos, we want the moral control, we want the confusion so that we can terrorize anyone we want. We want Wild West.
Yeah.
We don't recognize your control. Or the idea that there's any kind of something called justice or an outside party that tells us what to do. We're them, and it is not going to be rule of law. It's going to be rule of force. But we don't see that because the force they use is moral force.
Yeah.
It's morality that they use to dominate people, and that's why we don't see them as the fucking thugs they are.
Yeah. Okay.
From a tree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not condoning this. I'm not condoning this. But what do we ask?
I'm not condoning that, and she says, that's exactly what you're doing. You are.
No, she's making a statement about relative harm.
Well,
it's
no.
a greater harm to censor the internet than to make it comfortable for
Also,
ideologues and moral bullies.
She's also acknowledging that the things that she says have the potential to upset other people. And so if she wants to retain her freedom to say things that upset other people, then when they get upset and say things to her that upset her, you know, that's the cost of saying things that upset other people.
Yeah, but she shouldn't bear that cost.
She has no right to upset other people and then say they have no right to upset her.
Yeah, that's basically isn't it? They want an asymmetrical situation of upset. They can upset whomever they want, and that's why they're getting flack, is because they've upset people. People don't send you mean tweets because they're just like, I'm gonna have some tea, and I'm gonna have some biscuits, and I'm just gonna send some mean tweets to a random person.
Well, they might if you're Andy Dick.
Well, regardless, I mean, most people aren't like that. They send you mean tweets because you piss them off. And you can't turn around and say, I have the right to piss people off, but they don't have the right to make me upset.
Yeah.
Rule of law means everyone abides by the law. What you want, what this group of women want, is rule of force.
And this one.
Yeah, they want rule of force because they got the biggest fucking moral guns. So they want to be able to shove those guns in anyone's face and pull the trigger and then not have anyone question. And it's a wonderful situation to be in. Could you imagine being in the Wild West with a pair of 6-shooters and you shoot someone and everybody will say, well, he had it coming. He had it coming.
Well, and nobody else is allowed to have a gun either.
And no one else is allowed to have a gun.
Just you.
These are fucking thugs. And I love how she's got her hands folded and she's got this look of disappointment. Yeah, right, you thug.
She's got her little disability thing here.
Well, no, not Connie. I'm talking about the woman right beside her. This look of incredible disappointment. Sorry, Yosemite Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine Yosemite Sam looking at Bugs Bunny that way? Oh, I'm so disappointed in you, varmint. Or however the hell you would say that. I mean, we'd laugh at him. Why aren't we laughing at this woman? You want to be a thug? Then you accept the thug life.
Yeah.
The reason that I think we can't laugh at them is because these are the sorts of people who actually have some sort of social influence and some sort of social power. I mean, they're on the fucking BBC talking about this. And I said it at the beginning, what these women want is an asymmetrical system whereby they can spout whatever the hell they want into the public domain and not have the public domain respond to them. That they want a completely asymmetrical field like that. And this is the reason, like I said, we can't laugh, because they are getting a platform for this. And as we've seen from our totally unbiased moderator, that's the side that is being very heavily promoted.
I mean, you literally have these two women here, right? And then you have Milo, right? And then you have the one woman who's like a neutral, who's like, you're all fucking egomaniacs. And then later on you have like a man or two who are like, fuck Milo, but, you know.
Let's get to it. Let's get stuck in here, vagina.
What? And you seem to be saying
okay, Milo, wait, Connie, in a second.
racism is
Do we bring in more laws and regulations?
Milo, a monkey hanging from a tree.
I'm being completely mischaracterized because
Oh my god, the monkey hanging from a tree. Give me a fucking break. Rush Limbaugh's head photoshopped onto a plucked fucking turkey. Okay? Give me a fucking break. Get over it. I don't care.
Move on.
I'm very much on your camp on free speech thing. It is
Milo,
disgusting.
you're a liar.
Shush, Laura.
You are a liar.
Shush, it's disgusting.
Can he not talk? Just keep going, Karen.
He's like, I'm very much in your camp on the free speech thing, and then Connie says, Milo, you're a liar. You are a liar.
What? Well,
That's
whose
just it.
camp?
Everything he says is a lie.
This is
Also,
like the
his
most,
face there, that dado face.
this is the most confusing thing to follow. So I assume he's in the free speech camp with the ginger,
Yes.
sensible ginger. I'm going to call her that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I called her the sensible ginger. She's a sensible ginger. And he's in her corner on this free speech thing, and Connie is calling him a liar.
And horrible why anybody would want to send anybody that kind of racist abuse. It's awful. I would never want to be in the same room as somebody like that. However,
And yet they're your followers, your fans.
you
However,
and you don't even have the
you
guts
seem
to
here-
tell us.
Fucking God. Okay, I gotta say this. You will not take accountability for your lies and your unethical and possibly criminal behavior, but he has to take accountability for the people that follow him, who may not even actually follow him. They may actually just be randoms.
Yep.
Or they don't actually have any investment in what he has to say. They're just randoms who follow the drama. He has to take accountability for them, for their actions. But you don't have to take any fucking accountability for yours. How does this world work?
Well,
Because he is the big, strong man who is responsible for all of society and maintaining it and guarding it and policing it, and they are the poor, helpless women who need the big, strong faggot to protect them from everyone.
Oh, so he's basically
Even
off the
in their victim narrative, they are telling Milo that he needs to defend them. After they've slandered him, called him a liar, and said he needs to go to jail, they now need him to defend them. Sweet fucking irony.
Yeah, I know. Okay, vagina.
okay.
However, I am not responsible for what other people put on Twitter. 150,000 people follow me on Twitter, 50,000 on YouTube, 75,000 on Facebook. I am
Yet
not
you've been
responsible,
unverified,
as
haven't you?
I am not responsible as a public figure for what.
For fuck's sake.
Been unverified, haven't you? Yeah, okay, so he
Oh,
was...
you've been subject to censorship, which is the very censorship that we're advocating you be subject to. Ha ha ha, Twitter. Like, fuck, what the fuck? Like,
What a cunt.
you know, it's just like, oh.
She's a cunt. She's a fucking cunt.
Yes, now I am willing to admit that the country is very strong with this one.
Oh my god.
What a tiny minority of idiots say to people that I disagree with, yet I'm held accountable for it in a studio, and I was accused of calling for someone's assassination. These are outright, incredible, galling lies from people who have a history of dishonesty.
Okay, Connie,
We've seen the tweet.
hands up.
Google it.
Connie,
It's all
Banana.
Yeah, I know.
over the web.
Yes, your
And-
fabricated
No,
CV is all over the web as well.
And because
here's Connie's
You
turn.
lied about your bylines, you lied about your qualifications, and you lied
Milo.
about Tim
If
Hunt.
that
You are
man-
Professor of Science
if
Journalism.
that
You should be
man
ashamed
can-
of yourself.
Should we let Connie respond to that?
Fuck you, host, and fuck you, audience. Yes, she should be allowed to respond, fuck you, Milo, you shut your goddamn mouth. Again.
I think that we've seen in this now 15 plus minutes Milo speak a total of maybe 45 seconds.
No, it's been more like a minute and a half, but he's never... He hasn't,
Uninterrupted?
yeah, no, he hasn't had more than like 45 seconds uninterrupted, but it's
Yeah.
you know, a couple minutes maybe of him actually getting a chance to talk.
Okay. Vagina.
I've got 150,000 followers in the audience.
Yeah, but your
Agree with
account's
me.
verified.
Connie.
so
But your account's verified.
It means nothing. What the fuck does a verified account on Twitter actually do? What does it mean? Someone explain this to me really quickly.
No,
What is it?
what it means is that when if I were to put up a fake Girl Writes What account, if my original Girl Writes What account was verified as it being me, it would have a little check mark beside it. This is the actual Karen Strawn. This is the actual public figure, right? And anybody else who makes an account, Girl Hates What, Girl Writes What with right spelt the different way or whatever, and decides to impersonate me, right? They would not be able to have that check mark. So it's for public figures, it's for high-profile figures, right, to be able to demonstrate through their Twitter account that this is actually the real deal. This is the real fucking Will Wheaton. This is the real Patrick Stewart. This is the
Okay, so it's like an anti-cloning thing.
Yes.
The equivalent of like having a photograph of yourself with your Twitter handle written on a piece of paper or something.
Oh, yeah, something like that. But here's the thing.
Okay. Right,
It's
so
completely
why
wrong.
does this verification have anything to do with the validity of what someone says?
well,
Okay,
because
it doesn't, but Karen, just let me take this one. It doesn't. What this is they're basically saying, I fucked your mama. That's it. I have the power to censor you, Milo. And by the way, suck my clit. This is what these women are saying.
Yeah,
and because they're thugs.
He had his verification removed over a brouhaha that he got into where he was retweeting feminist tweets or something like that, and then people were going over to the Twitter things of those feminists and tweeting at them nasty stuff, right? So essentially he was retweeting, I think this is what went on, he was retweeting feminists, and his followers were going and saying mean things to those feminists, and therefore they reported him a whole bunch of times, and finally Twitter was just like, well, this is a huge account and we can't really justify, suspending it, so we'll just remove his verification.
Which does absolutely fuck all.
Yeah, basically. It's just
okay, so it's a purely political piece of absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
For some reason that does nothing other than what?
Nothing.
Maybe this is just because I don't know Twitter, because Twitter's fucking garbage and I basically don't use it. But it seems to be an entire brouhaha of nothing, and these women are just flouting it around as if it's some sort of instant I win button. You got unverified, therefore everything you have ever said is wrong, or something.
I got you censored in a small way, therefore I'm just gonna shove it in your face in it. That's it. That's all.
It's not even censored, is it? I mean, he still has the ability to tweet.
Yeah,
he can still communicate through it. He can still message people. He can still post links, pictures, retweet. He can still do all of that shit. So
yeah, but it's a petty win. And it's for petty people.
Somebody actually made an account that had, called themselves Milo Yiannopoulos, but spelled it wrong, the Yiannopoulos wrong, which is very easy to do, and sent some nasty threat to some feminist, and then Milo came on and said, oh my goodness, if only I still had my verification, you'd be able to tell that this wasn't me. Oh my goodness, oh my dear. And then he said, he tweeted, can anyone spell false flag? And I said, someone obviously can't spell Yiannopoulos. And he said, oh, you can see right through me. And I said, oh, fags are always super transparent anyway, or something like that. And yeah, I mean, like it's essentially, it's not really doing anything to hurt him. It's actually making it less easy for people to attribute abuse to him that may be being done in his name.
Okay, but we vagina.
Okay.
Milo just called for somebody to be assassinated. Twitter essentially struck him off.
You're saying he didn't?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. What was the tweet?
Of course, he's
what was the tweet? What was the wording of the tweet? What did it say?
So actually, we don't need to believe everything he's saying.
What did it say?
There's a particular.
Milo, let's hear Connie.
There's a particular kind.
You accuse her of
crime. She should justify it.
Okay.
She's accused him of a crime. She should actually be able to at least disclose what the tweet said, paraphrase the tweet, anything.
Yeah, vagina.
Say who was the target of the assassination.
Yeah, just anything more than just you called for someone to say, okay, well, what's this woman's name?
Connie St. Louis.
Okay, I'd just like to let it known that Connie St. Louis this morning published a tweet calling for me to be killed.
Oh,
let's just put that out there. I mean, we should do something about this.
It's all over the internet. We don't have to provide details, but it's out there. And if she says she didn't, she's lying.
Ugh. Jesus. Okay,
Wow.
vagina.
He's a particular kind of person that makes his money and his fortune on Twitter.
As opposed to you, who make your money and your fortune by falsifying your fucking resume and getting a cushy fucking job as an academic.
Vagina.
And he wants to develop his public persona on Twitter. There's lots of people like him around.
How did he call for someone's assassination?
He called for it on a tweet because somebody challenged him.
That's not what the host asked. The host didn't ask, how did he do it? Oh, he made a tweet. No. if somebody's calling for somebody's assassination on Twitter, obviously they made a tweet. He's asking for details. You
Vagina.
bin.
As a result, Twitter have unverified.
No, they did not unverify him over that. You stupid, stupid cunt.
Not true.
De-verified
Not true.
him.
Total lie.
And they are now, you wrote about it yourself, Milo. It's
Not true.
nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
It's just not true.
And this is.
You need to address the allegations.
This is the kind of person that has tried to make a fortune and their fame on Twitter because they're desperate.
He's desperate.
Okay, well then he's not particularly privileged if he's desperate. I mean, why doesn't he go your route and lie on his CV and get a job? Oh wait, he's a white guy.
No, he has a job. He's a fucking editor at a major news source at a very popular website. He's a senior fucking content editor or some shit like that. He writes for that source. He puts out several articles a week. He's a very busy man.
Okay.
Like,
but he's not busy because of vagina.
You know, but you stupid bitch, you know, you had to say, oh, I work, not I worked, but I work for this news outlet and that news outlet that, oh my goodness, they haven't employed me since 2008. Oh, and I have written for this news outlet and that news outlet where my byline doesn't exist going back 20 years. That's what you put on your fucking CV, you fucking lying cunt.
Vagina.
Exactly. So why do we...
Oh, and I received this prestigious award for this documentary when I wasn't the one who received the award. It was the producer of the documentary, not me.
Dear cock.
What?
My colleague in America, one of my colleagues, Charles Blow, is a very, very fine commentator and he writes for the New York Times, and he wrote recently something, and as a result, he also got a death threat, and he said to Twitter, isn't it time you take some of these people off Twitter?
Well, hang on. A man got a death threat?
I
putting that out there. Just how you just glossed over that, didn't make into a big deal. He got a death threat. Okay. I thought this was the domain exclusively of women with the hatred. I mean, does this prove that people hate men, by your logic?
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. It's not the way they think. As men get these threats, they get them more often than women, and...
You're getting the badger growl there, Teal, there.
Somehow, even though men get these threats more often than women, we only care about it when women get the threats. So
because we hate them.
Because we hate women, but we don't hate men.
Yes.
We favor men, and we privilege men.
Banana.
Yeah.
And Twitter said, just contact the police if somebody shoots you. This person threatened to shoot him on Twitter, and people like Milo are those kind of people.
Oh my God! Nobody who's gonna shoot you is gonna announce it on Twitter first.
I love the police, though. It's like you go call us when they shoot you. The police know this stuff is bullshit. And this is part of the thing. We are trying to make the police's lives less horrific. If you're a policewoman or a policeman out there, realize this. We are the thin line between you and these fucking moral savages. And I don't mean that in a racist sense. I mean that they're little... Okay, let me go back to the Western allusions. These moral fucking outlaws. We are the ones trying to keep your work reasonable and not fielding bullshit from Twitter. I'm not asking for thanks. I'm just saying that we're the ones doing that. It's okay, and thank you for keeping criminals off the street and such.
But you know,
I'm sure I've offended some people who don't like the police, so I'm going to just quiet now.
Whatever. Like, police are like anybody else. Some of them are nice, some of them are assholes, right? But honestly, like when you look at it and you just like, why would the police say something like that? You know, report it when he shoots you. Because he's not gonna fucking shoot you. He's not gonna do it. Like, how many threats have I gotten? Nobody's shown up at my door, right? Nobody's attacked me on my way home from the fucking grocery store, right? We had that freaking demon head with the electronically altered voice, you know, about how they were coming to get us, and then yeah, none of us have ever been fucking accosted in real life. The only people I have coming up to me in real life, two at the fucking tire store the other day, an employee and a customer came up to me, shook my hand, and thanked me for doing what I do, right? They were like, oh, I'm a big fan, and I just wanted to say thank you so much. Like, those are the people I run into in real life, not people who mean me harm.
Yeah, nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to, if they say it on Twitter, there's the 109 times out of 10. They're not going to do a damn thing in real life. But, vagina.
God damn it.
And they need to be taken off.
Absolutely.
And they need to be taken off by
Quick
Twitter.
audience. So, journalist, please make it quick comments. We're coming to the end. Quick comments.
Yeah, I think ladies over here who suffered this abuse and all other women and men, and just for people to say things like, oh, just block them, just delete them, just ignore it. It's terrible. Like, they've been abused. They need to be held accountable for that.
Milady, your knight has arrived.
He said Ben, too.
Yeah, he did say men, too, but I still...
He's consistent about it.
I still disagree with him. He's like, they've been abused and people need to be held accountable. No.
Yes, a mean word is not abuse.
Well,
I mean, it is abuse, but it's not illegal. It shouldn't be illegal. I mean, a mean word, yeah, it's mean, which is sort of abusive, but it's not like, at some point you got to draw the line.
Does anybody have...
When we're talking about, like, abuse in this sense, we're talking about sort of the domestic level almost, you know, the sort of, no, it has to be like a sort of continuous, sustained, active thing from one person or a coordinated group. You know, we're back to this, a wall of noise in your direction. It might feel abusive, but it's not actually abuse. So this idea that it's like, oh, someone said something mean to this woman, she's been abused! Has she really? And also, what exactly is wrong with the response of, hey, just block them?
Or what did you do to deserve it, to piss people off? Because there's a lot of mutual combat on Twitter. A lot of it.
Well, and, you know, honestly, the whole idea that that if I wanted to, according to these people, according to Kate Smurthwaite, right? Do you have any idea how many feminists I could have arrested?
Can I just go back to the whole shit show about responding? New source for you, because why the hell not? Ignoring versus responding. 60% of those who have experienced harassment ignored it. The most recent, 40% respond to it. I mean, that's a thing going on there. You know, and most people seem to think that responding to it is effective. You've got these two big categories here. Ignored it, people think it's effective, and people who respond to it thinking it's effective. No matter what most people do, they seem to think that their action is the effective way of dealing with it. So a lot of these people who are receiving all of this harassment, there's a goodly number of them who are responding to that, and they think it's effective to open up this two-way shit-flinging that inevitably ensues.
Well, you know what?
So they are what's what I'm looking for? They're complicit in this happening. They are actively fanning the flames.
I think there's a common denominator there, and that common denominator is that they took an action.
And
if you maintain a posture of agency over what's happening to you, you will feel that is effective. If you expect other people to save you from shit, you'll end up like these apparently partially brain dead people in the front row on the left of the big questions. On my left, not their left.
Yeah, no, it's essentially like I do ignore a certain amount of what gets thrown at me. I respond to some of it. And there are times when, because I have some stalkers, right, who essentially follow me from place to place. They keep an eye on my feed or whatever, or what videos that I've upvoted, and then they go and look at them. They look at my Twitter, right, because it automatically says that I upvoted this video or that video, and then they go and find any comments that I've left, and then they, one of them is My Lampstand, and another one is Deb Majil, and our favorite Sale Polani, Diana Boston, Man Cheese, right? And so they follow me around, and they leave comments, and another one is Manhood Academy, who also follows me around.
Karen, you're a chicken. You're a chicken. You're a chicken. Listen to me, Karen. Listen to me, Karen.
I can't hear you with all these mother hens just all talking.
Karen.
Oh my God. Anyhow.
Just to explain the joke to Teal there, we brought Manhood Academy on a show once, and that was the entirety of their participation in that show.
Karen, I seem to recall watching it at some point. He is that guy who is. I've seen some of his so-called debates, and
oh god,
are very, very dubious and questionable. It just seems to be an excuse of, oh, you say this to me, so I'm going to call you a cunt. So I'm going to call you a cunt for the rest of the thing because that's the premise that you've laid down, and now shut the fuck up because I'm talking.
Yeah,
but, he seems to have this very overly aggressive style of it. Sometimes it's warranted against some people, but other times you just look at it and think, what the fuck are you doing? You're making yourself look like an absolute prat.
He literally he goes around and accuses me of censoring him because I will not go onto his channel where he has control of the mute button and debate him.
Yeah.
Right? But okay, so I'm censoring him by not engaging with him. Right?
Seems legit.
That means I'm silent. So I mean, like he's completely. But I do have these people who follow me around, and often these people will leave a comment in a comment thread that I am participating in, and then other people will try to engage them, go like, oh my god, that's totally fucked up. What did you just say? And, pardon me, and I will say, it's just best to just leave them alone, right? Because it's not gonna, they will engage you until the fucking cows come home. They will engage you until the sun implodes. They will engage you, and they won't say anything different than what they're saying now, right?
Nope.
There's just no point in talking to them. What they don't need is engagement on the internet. What they do need is some kind of help, right?
Yeah, and we can't give it to them. So what we can give is silence and vagina.
Okay. But so sometimes engaging works, sometimes not engaging works, is what I'm saying.
Just words for that. Go on.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, I mean, the social media really is just a petri dish of the entirety of society, really. But I have to say that a vacuous person like this is not representative of men on social media.
A man who does not worship the vagina and remove the personhood of the person attached to it does not represent me.
How does How does he even know that Milo is vacuous? Milo could not get one sentence out without being interrupted. So how does this guy even know what Milo's positions are?
Because Milo is being opposed by vaginas. And vagina, 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 vagina.
They are always right, because the holy vagina is the source of all knowledge.
Vagina.
Deep in my heart, in my soul, in my vagina, I know.
We should probably replace all English words with just the holy word, vagina.
I think so. Double
vagina, so.
Double plus vagina, yeah.
And unvagina.
Unvagina the vagina.
Well, Milo, you're a controversialist,
Controversialist or egomaniac. I mean, the point is,
but you defend his right to be a controversial.
Egomaniac. She keeps saying egomaniac. Whatever, he is. So what? I don't think he would even dispute that.
Yeah.
He wrote about this in Breitbart, and he didn't dispute it. He was like, okay, guilty as charged, essentially. Oh
yeah, okay, sure, he's a bit of an egomaniac. Are you now going to address his points? Are you now going to back him up? in his demand for evidence.
I have to turn off every handset individually in order to get it to stop ringing.
Well, that's annoying.
It's hearted that way.
Let's point out it's 2016 and you still have a landline. You're doing it wrong.
Why don't you just have a cord inserted behind your ear, Karen, and just receive calls directly to your frontal cortex? I think she's gone. I think she's probably taking the call.
No, I'm listening to my answering machine because one of my kids decided that they were going to listen to the messages on my answering machine and unfill it, and that made it so that things weren't sent directly to voicemail. And so, yeah, no, now I get to listen to people saying what they're, yeah. But I don't.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. All right.
Almost as fascinating as the holy non-appendage between one's legs, or some of one's legs.
The holy vagina.
I defend anybody's right to say anything, and that's the important distinction between what I'm saying and what everybody else is saying, is that I think you should be able to say the most abhorrent, the most...
Yeah, no, she's saying that...
Milo supported that earlier.
Yeah.
He was saying, no, I can do this. Why are you trying to separate yourself? Actually, no, I know exactly why she's trying to separate herself from him, because she is the owner of the holy vagina and he is the evil bipenist heretic.
Well, she might not...
said that.
I don't think she's actually looked at his opinions or his perspective at all. She just thinks he's an egomaniac, and she thinks he's trying to silence people just as much as Kate and Connie are trying to silence people. And so she doesn't realize that she actually agrees with his position, and she hasn't been able to hear anything in this panel discussion that would lead her to believe that she agrees with him, because he hasn't been allowed to speak. Right?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
It's awful things, because words are words, and especially on Twitter. The only time I would ever be afraid of a man, or a man would ever intimidate me, is if he was threatening my life physically. That can't happen on Twitter because it's just words. The amount of stuff that you get, death threats, evil stuff, block them. Be an adult. Are you a girl or are you a woman? Be an adult.
Yay!
There we go. Got there eventually.
Okay, well, you can't really blame Sensible Ginger for the fact that you don't actually have a sense of what Milo is advocating for or anything from this, because he only gets to speak uninterrupted about maybe 50 seconds. And most of it is just responding to people's allegations against him.
Yeah.
So you could sort of understand why she seems to be confused over whose positions are what. So in that sense, I don't know what the hell she was wandering into.
Yeah.
Was she briefed at all? Did she realize what she would? And how did she end up being sitting like adjacent? Is that adjacent? Is that the right term to Milo? How did that happen? What's going on? What's the score here?
Who knows?
All right.
I don't know, but
I know that the score is always vagina to vagina. So
there we go.
You have got about 40 seconds to respond, Milo, and get the last word in here. This is a lot of accusations.
Oh my God! You've got 40 seconds to respond, Milo, and the two other fucking women start yelling.
Of course they do.
You've given him the last word. Well, he's given you guys all of the words. All of them.
I don't even know if they're giving Milo the last word. There may be more time than, but it's essentially like they just don't want him to have any word.
It's time.
Very straight.
Lots of people talking.
This is very straightforward. Let's not make it about me. You've got lying feminists throwing accusations. Who cares?
Okay, now we've just been accused of
let's not. The fact is that the research does not support the premise of this question. It does not support them. It does not support any of the stuff.
Right. You just said lying feminists.
Internet abuse is a very real thing, and it silences women's voices. It makes women.
Oh.
I love this. It's like he just says, yeah, we've got lying feminists over there. And their instant response is, we're under attack.
We have this woman over here, right? This woman over here. And she's saying, internet abuse doesn't silence me. And then we have this woman over here. And she said earlier, I don't think that I like you speaking for me. Right? And this woman over here saying, I know you don't want me to speak for you, but I'm going to speak for you, and I'm going to say that you've been silenced, even though the only person to interrupt you in this entire fucking panel is me.
Yeah, that's what feminists do. They say, I speak for all women, and then when a woman stands up and say, no, you don't, they say, you have internalized misogyny, now shut up. I speak for all women because all of the women who don't agree with me should be silent. So by default, I speak for all women who have any legitimate right to speak. Of course, they don't say it quite that way. They just say, you have internalized misogyny, so you don't really speak for a woman because you're really a man in a woman's skin, somehow.
Yeah, you're an honorary man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what internalized misogyny means. You're an honorary man, therefore you can be subject to all of the depredations that men are subject to when they violate our rarefied moral landscape that we hold privileged.
Yeah, well, you know, like honestly, we uphold the patriarchy, Alison.
Yes, of course we do.
By saying men can be victims and women can be perpetrators,
by recognizing women's agency and personhood.
We're conforming to traditional gender roles and stuff. So, yeah.
We're in the final stretch here. It's like 23 seconds left.
So many important people should be able to. There are young people who have committed suicide because of internet abuse, and yet we have people here who not only support it, but who do it themselves.
Thank you.
And what percentage of those people who have committed suicide were men?
Oh, who gives a shit? That's not. Those aren't people. Those are men.
Here, this is my response.
They don't count.
Teal, dear.
Yep, that sounds about right.
So, is there anything in the last like 9 seconds?
I think
Let's find out.
He throws his key card.
Look, thanks for watching. We will see you next week. Tweet away.
Okay, there we go. Done.
What a fucking waste of time.
Yeah, well.
That was like just an incredible waste of time. No, mostly only the feminists got to speak, and one person who seemed to be very confused.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yep.
Well, that's not a debate.
No.
The moderator was obviously biased and on one side.
Yep.
If they wanted to have a conversation, I don't even know why they used that particular... Okay, maybe it was just clickbait. Fine. Everybody does it. Everybody does the clickbait thing. But what the fuck? What were we supposed to take out of that? What?
That feminists are always right, that men hate women, and that shutting down any man who tries to defend himself against any accusation is completely legitimate.
Well, I also shut down the woman, too.
Yes, women who disagree with feminism because they're not proper women.
Well, and you know, her hair wasn't really very nice, and you know, she didn't really have like good makeup and fancy clothes like Kate. So, I'm guessing.
Well, essentially, what they want to do
is a little bit frumpy, so we probably don't have to listen to her.
Essentially,
well,
it seems
she
like
doesn't have a soul.
It seems like what they're trying to advocate doing, and I'm gonna start to wind down here because I gotta. But it seems like what they're trying to advocate doing is being able to eject people from communities based on what they have to say.
Yes.
Based on any kind, and even if it's mutual, they want the privilege of essentially assassinating people's internet presence. That's what they want.
Well, no, it's not. It's not that they just want the ability to assassinate someone's internet presence. They also want them to be arrested, and they want them to
be fired.
Want to be able to slander them until they're fired and face not have to defend their slander. So yeah, no, that's how it works.
All right, I think everybody has had that experience, especially in the men's rights and anti-feminist crowd, of someone in your social circle, when you present some of your ideas, some of the things you've been thinking about, some of the things that perhaps you picked up on this show, and you present that to them, and they go into full nuclear meltdown.
I've never had that.
Yeah, well, lots of people have, Karen. I have, and lots of other people in the audience have as well.
I don't understand why I've never had that, but I've never had that, and it's not just like my family and my friends and my bosses and my coworkers and things like that. There was one coworker who like was in the middle of taking a sociology course, and she's like, "We just did the wage gap like just a while ago, and you know, like blah 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 blah." You know, and I was just like, yeah, you know, and then a whole bunch of other people came and said, no, Karen's got a point. But other than that, one time, I don't think I've had anybody even get upset. Like, I.
All right. Well, there's plenty of people. One person in the chat who's just said I get shut down all the fucking time when I stand up for men's rights. And there are plenty of other people who have experienced friends or family members who tell them to go take a long hike off a short pier for bringing up what they have to say. And some of them go on to try to torch their relationship with other people or get them fired or get them jailed.
Yes.
So we here on Honey Badger Radio are not asking you to agree with us. In fact, that's probably impossible since we don't agree with each other. Shut up, Karen. What we're doing is creating a space where disagreement is possible, where no one is banished for having a different opinion. You will find things you disagree with here, uncomfortable things, even irrational things. But as long as no one starts wielding morality as a weapon to silence, they are welcome and allowed to say their piece. Now, not without rational argument in turn, but certainly without being condemned to the pits of infamy. There is no clear answer here, just a chaos of competing ideas. And don't expect us to say what you think back to you or tell us what to think. We're inviting you to think with us. We have no name for sinner here, or blasphemer, or heresy, and no one is kicked out. Unless your name is Paul Wilson, then you're going to get